So there I was, standing in front of this sketchy dude with a scar across his face, and he's giving me the whole, "Who are you, little girl" routine. Classic. I pulled out a fat stack of cash from my pocket. "Is this sincere enough for you?" Scarface's eyes nearly popped out. He peeked behind me like he was looking for the real buyer. "Buddy, it's just me." He let me through side door, and I started placing my order like I was reading off a restaurant menu from hell. 1,000 gene of pork, 1,000 gene of cabbage, 1,000 gene of potatoes. Oh, and 10 black-bone chickens, 2 sheep, 3 cows, all butchered, thanks. Scarface's brain was doing math so hard I could smell smoke. I peeled off a bill as a tip for him, and just like that, his scary thug face melted into the world's most obedient servant. "Yes, ma'am. Whatever you say, ma'am," bowing and scraping like I was royalty. I even tossed him a pack of peony cigarettes for his boys. The man practically skipped away. Then, and this is the funny part, his little crew of card-playing gangsters didn't believe him. So instead of 2 guys bringing me tea, like 15 dudes came shuffling out to gawk at me. Real subtle, guys. I set down my teacup and said flatly, "Is this a robbery?" They choked. One brave soul tried to test me. "Miss, do you even know how much 1,000 gene of meat costs? Market price is 7 mao, but our black market price is 230 a gene." I cut him off. 190. Wholesale. "I know your prices." Dead silence. They looked at me like I'd just recited their social security numbers. Another one tried. "But 1,000 gene of cabbage? It's hot out. It'll rot. I'm paying for it. Even if I throw it in a ditch, that's my business." Then the boldest little gangster puffed up his chest and demanded a deposit. He held up one finger all dramatically. I waited. He announced, with maximum swagger, "At least 10 yuan. Scarface face-bombed behind him. The kid asked for 10 yuan when I'd already tipped 10 just to open the door. I slapped 2 big bills on the table. One for the deposit, one so they could all go buy candy. Their jaws hit the floor. When the final bill came to 4,875.33 yuan, I reached under the table, pulled out exactly 4,880 from my secret spatial pocket, don't ask, and said, "The extras for popsicles." Scarface stared at the mountain of cash, then stared at me. No purse, no bag, nowhere to hide that kind of money. I could literally see the man thinking, if it weren't illegal to be a fox spirit after 1949, I'd swear this girl isn't human. After counting every last bill, he looked up at me with the devotion of a golden retriever and said, "Great me goddess, whatever you need, if I can do it, consider it done." And that, friends, is how a young woman walked into a black market and walked out owning the place. Before I left the black market, I remembered one last thing. I cleared my throat and tried to sound super casual about it. "Oh, and birth control supplies. 100 boxes. Scarface's entire face twitched. I could see the question forming in his brain, 100? But bless his heart, he swallowed it. "Smart man. You don't ask the money goddess about her personal life." "Sure thing. I'll find them if it kills me." I said nothing. Look, it was embarrassing, okay? But I also didn't want to spend my whole life as a baby factory, so here we are. I spent the entire day at the black market waiting for everything to get loaded onto a big truck. Then came the best part, the part one didn't plan but absolutely should have. The driver took the truck to our meeting spot. I told him I needed the bathroom and hopped off first. 3 minutes later, he opened the truck to start unloading and it was completely empty. Every last gene of pork, potato, cabbage gone. And so was I. The poor guy drove back to Scarface, looking like he'd seen a ghost. Literally. "Boss, that girl, she's definitely a ghost." And you know what Scarface said? He said, and I'm not making this up, "Doesn't matter if she's human or ghost. The money's real." Then the driver asked if 1970 was some kind of special ghost-repelling year, and Scarface slapped his chest and declared, "The People's Republic has been founded," as if Chairman Mao personally banished all supernatural beings. Even ghosts gotta pay cash in the new China, apparently. Meanwhile, I had zero idea I'd just given that driver lifelong trust issues. Kid needs to toughen up. I pulled out a normal amount of groceries from my space, 2 gene of meat, some ribs, vegetables, and walked into the family compound like a totally normal, non-ghost person. The neighborhood aunties were helping Mother was set up for the wedding. They tried to be polite and leave before dinner, but Mother was shut that down immediately. We've been neighbors for decades. If you won't stay for dinner, does that mean you won't help with the wedding either? Classic guilt trip. Worked like a charm. That night, Hwashiwan still wasn't home. His room looked exactly the way it did that morning. Untouched. I washed up and lay in bed, then slipped into my secret space to admire my mountain of supplies. Everything stays fresh in there, no rotting, no spoiling. Enough food to last us a long time when we get sent to the Northeast. With money and ration tickets still in hand, I could always buy more later. But I was worried about Hwashiwan. If he'd heard about the exile order, how crushed would he be? Then my little TV, this weird magical screen thing, started its daily prize draw. I thought, please give me super hearing so I can eavesdrop on what Hwashiwan is doing. I hit the button, closed my eyes, hit stop, and congratulations music, it gave me a radio. With a little note attached. A wedding gift for Weiwei from Little TV. How do you even know I call you Little TV? I said out loud to a magical appliance. It wasn't what I needed, but honestly, kind of sweet. I patted it like a pet. Thanks, buddy. I came out of the space and was just lying there when I heard a noise outside my door. Hwashiwan? I jumped up, and the second I reached the door, knock knock. I opened it and looked down. There stood little Eneen in a pink nightgown, hair looking like a bird's nest, rubbing her sleepy eyes with tiny arms raised. Auntie, carry me. Grandma disappeared and Eneen is scared. My heart just about cracked in half. I scooped her up, brought her to my bed, and patted her back until she fell asleep. But now I was wide awake. Where did Mother Hwa go in the middle of the night? Did something happen to Hwashiwan? I couldn't leave to find out. If Eneen woke up alone again, she'd be terrified. So I just lay there, worrying, until sleep finally dragged me under. Next morning, Mother Hwa was downstairs calling for Eneen, acting totally normal. I told her Eneen had come to me scared. She looked a tiny bit guilty, but brushed it off. Something was definitely weird, but she wasn't talking. Get changed and eat breakfast, she said. I'm taking you somewhere. Before I could even ask where, a young soldier came sprinting into the yard. Comrade. Are you Comrade Linyue, Commander Hwa's fiancé? Yes. What happened to Hwashiwan? The commander sent me to bring you to him. And then this kid just took off running.
No explanation.
No details. Just zoom. I chased him through the compound. Left turn, right turn, another left down an alley, until we stopped at a small courtyard I'd never seen before. I turned to ask why Hwashiwan was here of all places, but the little soldier had already vanished like a ninja. I stood at the gate.
Knocked.
Hwashiwan? Are you in there? Nothing. My heart was pounding. I shoved the gate open. To be continued, apparently, because the universe loves a cliffhanger. I shoved open the courtyard gate, heart hammering, expecting the worst. And there he was.
Hwashiwan.
Standing in the middle of a room. In full military uniform.
Perfectly fine.
My eyes went red instantly. I sprinted across that courtyard and threw my arms around him like he'd just come back from the dead. Hwashiwan, you scared me to death. 3 seconds of silence. Then applause. Flower petals raining down from everywhere. Soldiers whooping and cheering. I let go, looked around, looked back at him.
Oh.
So that's why everyone had been acting weird for 2 days. The secret smiles. Mother Hwa disappearing at midnight. The mysterious soldier sprint. It was all for this? I went from crying to laughing so fast, I probably looked unhinged. I gave him a look that said, I will remember this. He got the message. Surprise had officially become cardiac event. But the man was smiling. He actually looked happy that I'd been worried sick. The audacity. He plucked a flower petal off my hair, pulled a silver ring from his pocket, dropped to one knee, and said, Weiwei, will you marry me? I mean, what was I gonna say? No. I'm still mad you made me think you were dead. I put on the ring. His soldier buddies immediately swarmed me like excited puppies. Sister-in-law, don't let the commander's cold face fool you. He's crazy about you. Sister-in-law, he sent our entire company to pick wildflowers in a meadow. Look at my legs. The mosquitoes ate me alive. Sister-in-law, I've literally never seen the commander smile at a girl before. Historic moment. Thank you for accepting our commander. We were worried no one would. My face was on fire. Hwashiwan pulled me into his arms and barked at them. Don't you all have somewhere to be? Nope, they said in perfect unison. The political instructor smacked them all on the head. Actually, yes. Very busy. Extremely important things to do. Goodbye, they scrambled out, still laughing, and even remembered to shut the gate behind them.
Good boys.
Once we were alone, he took my hands. My fingers were ice cold from all the panic. He wrapped both my hands in his warm palms and smiled. One day away, and you're this worried. I was not worried, I said, turning away from him, annoyed that this man could read me like a children's book. He showed me around the little courtyard. It used to belong to his older brother before he went missing and his sister-in-law passed away. 3 rooms, including a kitchen. The East Room had been transformed into a wedding suite. Red everything, paper-cut double happiness characters on the walls, new bedding, and on the table sat a jewelry box and 3 very fat envelopes. He handed me the jewelry box first. Inside was a jade bracelet, identical to the one my grandmother gave me. My grandmother wanted my future wife to have this. He slid it onto my wrist and mumbled, too thin, meaning my wrist, not the bracelet. I coughed. He moved on. The envelopes. I could tell from the thickness, serious money. I tried to wave them off, but he stacked them in my hands anyway. For my parents, 10,000 yuan. Consider it the bride price. Mom said you don't have family to lean on, but with money, you don't need to be afraid of anything. 10,000
yuan.
I held that money and felt something crack open in my chest. Not sadness, just this overwhelming warmth. These people barely knew me, and they were handing me a financial safety net like it was nothing. I didn't refuse. Every yuan would matter where we were going. He left for his unit, and Mother Hua came with the aunties to finish decorating. They added candy and sunflower seeds, fussed over every detail, and finally left me alone for the night. Mother Hua asked if I was scared staying here by myself. Lady, I've lived 2 entire lifetimes. I could sleep in a graveyard and not flinch. I snuggled into the soft new bedding, feeling genuinely warm and happy. Hwashiwan had somehow fixed every terrible thing I ever felt about men. Not bad for a guy who communicates primarily through eyebrow movements. Then I remembered daily prize draw. I popped into my space, speedran the whole thing. Tap start, tap stop, done. The prize? An early pregnancy test. I yeeted that thing into the depths of my storage space so fast. If anyone saw that, I'd die on the spot. Besides, it was too early to test anything.
Moving on.
I was just drifting off when I heard something on the courtyard wall. The door opened. I shot up in bed. It was him. Again. This man and his dramatic entrances. What are you doing here? He gently pushed me back down. Just got back from the unit. Was worried you'd be scared. He dragged a stool to my bedside and sat down. Go to sleep. I'll leave once you're asleep. No, seriously, go home. I'm fine. He acted like I hadn't spoken. I'll watch you sleep. I couldn't chase him away. And I was thinking, we're getting married tomorrow morning. Shouldn't we both be resting? I looked at him sitting there on that tiny stool. Thought about it for a long time. Then I scooted over in the bed. I bit my lip. I didn't know how to say it. But he understood. He looked at me with this gaze, so intense I thought I might actually catch fire. I panicked. Don't get the wrong idea. I just meant, before I could finish, he hooked the stool aside with one long leg, lay down beside me, and said calmly, Wei, I'm not getting the wrong idea. He tucked the blanket around me, crossed his arms, closed his eyes. Sleep. My entire scalp was tingling. My heart was trying to escape through my ribcage. Okay. Good night then, I squeaked. He smirked. Then he hugged his arms tighter and shivered slightly, like he was cold. It was July. I handed him a corner of the blanket because I'm not a monster, and the instant I reached out, he grabbed my wrist, pulled me close, and rolled over me. Arms braced on either side, looking down at me with eyes that were absolutely, unmistakably on fire. And that, dear readers, is where we're leaving things tonight. You're welcome.
And good night. So,
Where were we? Ah, yes. The man was hovering over me, with eyes like a forest fire. I swallowed hard. Before I could even form a thought, his lips crashed into mine. Now, let me describe this kiss with full honesty. It was aggressive, clumsy, and slowly suffocating me. The man kissed like he was trying to win a war against my mouth. My brain ran out of oxygen. My body went floaty. My lips started actually hurting. I let out a little whimper, and he froze. Pulled back.
looked down at me.
There I was, tears in my eyes, face red, lips red, staring up at him like a kicked puppy. The man looked like he'd just committed a federal crime. He shot upright. Wei Wei, I'm sorry. I glared at him. You bully someone and then say sorry? What's even the point of having police? He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Then he tried. Wei Wei, you're just too beautiful. There are lots of beautiful people. Do you assault all of them? I turned my back to him. I was genuinely a little mad. This grown man, decorated military commander, was now standing at rigid attention beside the bed like a soldier being court-martialed. By himself. He was mentally cursing himself for getting carried away the second someone gave him an inch. The silence was unbearable. I sighed. Just go, okay? I'll stand outside your door. Why would you stand outside my door? Go home. Sleep, too. Reflect on my mistake. I stared at this 6-foot-something man volunteering to stand guard outside like a punished schoolboy, and honestly, I couldn't stay mad. Get over here. He practically teleported to my side. Hwashiwan, have you ever dated anyone before? No. Zero hesitation. Really doesn't seem like it. I really haven't. His face was turning red from the effort of convincing me. I let it go. I believed him. The man was physically incapable of lying. I told him to go home and sleep. He didn't move. I knew he wouldn't go rest in his brother's old room either. So for the third time that night, I scooted over.
You.
Behave. The man was so shocked by my mercy that he didn't even get on the bed. Instead, he lined up several stools next to it and lay across them like a tightrope walker. A very large, very uncomfortable tightrope walker. I sat up.
Hwashiwan.
I'm tired. He jumped up. You can't sleep with me here. He was about to leave when I patted the bed.
Get on the bed.
Don't make me say it again. He had nothing left to say. He lay down beside me, stiff as a board. Didn't move. Didn't breathe, possibly. I tossed him a corner of the blanket and rolled over. I wanted to say something reassuring, but also didn't want to give him any ideas. So I just fell asleep. Now here's the thing. The man came here to keep me company, and getting a spot on the bed was already more than he'd hoped for. But the real torture? Lying next to a sleeping girl who smelled like flowers, curled up in a tiny adorable ball, with rosy cheeks and little lips that kept moving in her sleep. He told me later he reached out to touch my face, then immediately stopped himself. Because I'd trusted him enough to let him stay, and he wasn't going to ruin that. This man. He lay there all night, watching the skies slowly brighten. Then he gently woke me. Wei Wei, I'm heading out. Sleep a bit more. I cracked when I opened, mumbled something, and passed right back out. Apparently that sleepy little made him smile like an idiot all the way home. He climbed over the wall at dawn so nobody would see him, sneaking out of his own fiancée's courtyard. What a life. I woke up to knocking and the sudden, terrifying realization. I'm getting married today. The aunties rolled in with a squad of the neighborhood's best beauty experts, a bunch of young girls who attacked my hair with the focus of a military operation. Braids up, flowers in, face done. Then they handed me the outfit Hwashiwan had prepared. It was a red dress. Puff sleeves. Cinched waist. A design that honestly shouldn't exist yet in 1970. It was way too stylish. I put it on and walked out. Every woman in that room went silent. You're so beautiful. Sister Wei Wei, you're gorgeous. The red made my skin look like snow. The sleeves made my neck look long and elegant. Everyone was staring. Then someone dropped the real bomb. I heard Commander who drew the design himself and had Juzi's mom sew it. He designed this dress. Himself. Drew the pattern. picked the style. Is there anything this man can't do? Before I could process that, drums started beating outside. The aunties rushed me back to the bedroom and sat me on the edge of the bed. New era, new rules. No red veil. No door-blocking games. No jumping over fire pits. Just love, honesty, and a whole lot of noise. Then he appeared in the doorway, backlit like a movie poster, holding flowers, walking toward me with that serious, solemn face. He knelt at the bedside. The aunties weren't about to let him off easy. You think you can just waltz in and take the bride? Not so fast. Commander Hua, you gotta answer some questions first. How did you two meet? His soldiers piled on. Commander, your wife is this pretty. Her sister must be cute too, right? Hook us up. Hua Shiwan, the man who normally had the emotional range of a glacier, actually played along. Wei Wei was chosen by my grandmother as my future wife. So, you just marry whoever grandma picks? Commander, answer like that, and your wife's gonna make you kneel on a washboard. Everyone roared with laughter. He let them have their fun. Then he took my hand, gently this time, looked at me, and said with absolute certainty, only her. And the whole room went quiet for just a second before it erupted again, louder than ever. Only her.
Yeah.
I think I picked the right guy. The teasing continued. My face was basically a tomato at this point, and Hua Shiwan grabbed my hand tighter because apparently the man has an emotional radar installed. Looks like nobody's stopping Commander Hua from taking his bride today. Obviously not. Our commander must bring sister-in-law home. Then this man, instead of carrying me on his back like a normal groom, scooped me up in his arms like a princess. Bridal carry. Full send. Whoa, Commander Hua going above and beyond. Everyone else does piggyback, but our commander carries the bride in his arms. The commander can lift 200 jean sandbags. Sister-in-law is nothing. Bro, that's not the compliment you think it is. The walk home was magical. People throwing confetti, tossing grain for good luck, shouting blessings. I had my arms around his neck the whole time, and for the first time in either of my lives, I felt genuinely, stupidly happy. We got to the Hua house. Chairman's portrait hanging front and center. The political commissar laid out 2 booklets for us. Comrade Lin Yue, our commander officially belongs to you now. Under the blazing sun, surrounded by everyone we knew, we read aloud together. Serve the people, self-reliance and hard struggle, romance? In this era, we pledge our love through revolutionary slogans. Peak 1970s dating culture. The commissar grinned. And now, the groom may kiss his bride. Everyone lost their minds cheering. Hua Shiwan looked at me, trying so hard to keep his cool, and someone yelled, "Hey groom, our bride's pretty, right?" A tiny flicker of embarrassment. Then he said firmly, "Beautiful." The crowd went wild. This from the man whose default expression is Arctic winter. The aunties were practically swooning. We turned to serve tea to his parents, and everything was perfect. Absolutely perfect. For about 7 more seconds. Yue, our Lin family raised you for 18 years, and you didn't even invite us to your wedding? I knew that voice. My blood went cold. The Lin family, all 4 of them, dressed to impress, standing out from everyone else like peacocks at a pigeon convention. Lin Jiao front and center with that smug look I wanted to iron off her face. I knew immediately. They weren't here to celebrate. They were here to burn my reputation to the ground. I started to speak, but Hua Shiwan pulled me back and stepped in front of me like a human shield. Before even he could talk, though, the neighborhood aunties went full attack mode. Are you here for the wedding or here to start trouble? My adoptive mother planted her hands on her hips. My adopted daughter gets married and doesn't invite her own parents? We came to check on her. Is that so wrong? Then Lin Jiao, with Oscar-worthy fake sadness. Sister, you hurt Mom and Dad so much. Even though you stole Commander Hua from me, I'm still gracious enough to attend your wedding, and her little brother. Yeah, my sister Jiao is so generous. Even after you seduced her fiancé, she still came. Their whole strategy, make me look like a backstabbing, parent-disrespecting, man-stealing witch. They figured even if I'd married well, if everyone here thought I was trash, I'd be socially destroyed. Nobody would trust me. Nobody would want to be near me. The Hua family's reputation couldn't save someone with that kind of baggage. Lin Jiaojiao was already strutting toward me to deliver the final blow when one of the aunties grabbed her arm and flung her aside like a used dish rag. Hands on hips. Full battle stance.
Ah,
If we hadn't already heard the real story, we might have actually believed your garbage. That's right. Thank God we know the truth, or you'd have ruined this wonderful girl's life. The Annies formed a wall and laid out everything. Grandma Hua and Grandma Lin were childhood friends. The engagement was always meant for me. Even after everyone found out I wasn't the biological daughter, both grandmas kept the arrangement because they valued my character. Then the Lin family tried to swap in their real daughter, sent Lin Jiaojiao to pretend to be me and meet Hu Xiwan. Got caught by motherhood just in time. And the grand finale, after they got exposed, this lovely family locked Yue in a stairwell closet. No food, no water, damp and dark. And if Mother Hua and Xiwan hadn't shown up when they did, this child might be dead, the crowd gasped. Is that true? The Annies drew themselves up. I've lived in this compound for decades. You think I'd make up something like that? Then what are we waiting for? Throw them out. Nobody comes into our compound to twist the truth and bully people. Toss them. Sleeves got rolled up. Soldiers cracked their knuckles. The Lin family had walked into a hornet's nest dressed as a piñata. Lin father and Lin mother turned to Lin Jiaojiao in panic. This was her plan. She'd said if they came and ruined my reputation, then even if I tried to report their illegal smuggling to Hong Kong, nobody would believe me. Slight miscalculation. Jiaojiao. Desperate, she pointed at me and screeched, Lin Yue, these people all trust you. How can you live with yourself deceiving them? Have you no conscience? I gently tugged Hu Xiwan's sleeve and stepped out from behind him. I looked at each of them, then locked eyes with Lin Jiaojiao. Jiaojiao. We could have lived peacefully. You're the one who chose self-destruction. My voice went ice cold. You never actually wanted to marry Hu Xiwan, did you? You've been secretly writing letters to a man in the capital, calling each other pen pals, because you were climbing a bigger branch. Her face went white. You're lying, I smiled. The kind of smile that makes people's survival instincts kick in. Would you like me to visit the post office and find witnesses? Check your mailing dates? Or maybe the military can write directly to your little pen pal and arrange a face-to-face confrontation. Lin Jiaojiao. Don't assume everyone is like you. Not everyone is shameless. Not everyone is disloyal. Dead. Silence. The Lin family stood there, mouths open, plan in ruins, surrounded by angry aunties and soldiers who looked ready to physically yeet them into the next province. And there I was, in my beautiful red puff-sleeve dress that my husband designed himself, on my wedding day, absolutely demolishing my enemies. Not a bad Saturday, honestly. So Lin Jiaojiao turned to our parents, hoping they'd back her up about the secret pen pal situation. Deny everything. Present a united front. Instead, Mom and Dad Lin's eyes literally lit up with excitement. Their daughter had been flirting with a rich boy from the capital? That wasn't a scandal. That was an upgrade. Jiaojiao, sweetie, don't worry. We'll discuss this at home, Mom Lin said, practically rubbing her hands together. Dad Lin nodded like Christmas came early. And then baby brother Lin Yuhao, bless his one brain cell, announced to the entire crowd, my sister Jiaojiao has a capital city young master now. Why would she want Hu Xiwan? Only someone like you, Lin Yue, would take whatever man she can get. Lin Jiaojiao looked like she wanted to strangle her entire family. They had just confirmed everything I said, live, in front of 100 witnesses. Incredible teamwork. Wow, the Lin family really raised a wonderful daughter, someone said dripping with sarcasm. Such class. Jiaojiao, now fully cornered, turned on me with fury. You read my letters? You thief. I shrugged. Is reading your letters really the worst crime here? What about stealing all the money I'd saved for years? What about smashing the priceless jade bracelet my grandmother gave me? That bracelet was worth a fortune, and it meant even more to me emotionally, she stuttered. I could see the fear creeping in. She was realizing I knew everything. The bracelet, the money, the secret boyfriend, her schemes with the Qian family. All of it.
How?
How do you know all this? She whispered. I smiled. Figuring it out now? Bit late. Here's the thing about Lin Jiao that I haven't mentioned. She's a reborn soul too. Just like me. In her version of this life, she was supposed to win every time, watching me suffer endlessly to repay the 18 years she spent with my birth parents. But something shifted in this timeline. Something she didn't plan for.
Me.
She tried to recover her composure, puffing up again.
So, what if you know?
Can you predict the Hor family's ending? Do you know what's coming? She was talking about the exile. The order to send Hua Xiwan to the northeast. She thought that was her ace card. I just raised an eyebrow and played dumb. She cackled. I actually thought you'd changed. How stupid of me. Trash like you could never turn things around. Watch your mouth. Hua Xiwan's voice dropped to sub-zero. His soldiers were already rolling up their sleeves. Forget talking, just throw them out. The drainage ditch is waiting. Everybody grab a limb, let's go. The political instructor, being the reasonable one, tried to mediate. Look, if you're here for the wedding, we'll add a table. If you're here to cause trouble, we'll have to escort you out. Mom Lin shoved the instructor aside and got right in my face. Lin Yue, we raised you for 18 years. You owe us. I heard the Hua family gave you a big bride price. Hand it over. Ah, there it was. The real reason they came. They were broke, desperate for cash, and figured they'd publicly shame me into coughing up money while simultaneously destroying my reputation. Two birds, one audacious stone. I almost laughed. Whatever the Hua family gave me, what does that have to do with you? We raised you, and my birth parents raised Jiao Jiao, didn't they? My voice went cold. She can read and write. Not a single scar on her body. Clearly, she lived well with my real parents. I pushed up my puff sleeve. Several ugly scars on my arm. Visible to everyone. Including one that was unmistakably a cigarette burn. The crowd went silent. She got those being clumsy as a child. Mom Lin sputtered. Hua Xiwan gently took my arm. He studied each scar. His eyes settled on the burn mark. I watched something ignite behind those dark eyes, a cold, terrifying fury. He looked at the Lin family. When I took her from your house, I told you she was done with your family. You agreed, eagerly. Do I need to remind everyone why you agreed so quickly? That was a threat. A very specific one. The Lin family had secrets they did not want aired. But Mom Lin was past caring. Broke people do desperate things. Hua Xiwan, don't you threaten us. You're the ones who need peace and quiet right now. Give us money, or we'll make your lives hell. Hua Xiwan's eyes darkened. He glanced at the political instructor. The instructor looked at the ceiling, looked at the sky, slowly walked out of the courtyard. I see nothing. I hear nothing. I am simply taking a stroll. The soldiers understood immediately. No orders needed. They swarmed the Lin family like a tactical unit, 3 or 4 guys per person, hoisted all 4 of them into the air, and started marching toward the gate. The crowd was loving it. Throw them in the public toilet, a whole family of shameless dogs. The outhouse is the only place that can handle their stink. Roger that. Public toilet. Express delivery. Lin Yuhao was crying and flailing. Emma.
Dad.
Jiao Jiao. Save me. My clothes can't get dirty. Lin father, being carried like a rolled-up carpet, screamed at me. Lin Yue, you just watch while people manhandle your parents? You animal. Mom Lin chimed in. We should have raised a dog instead of you. If Hua Xiwan can let soldiers treat your parents like this today, he'll treat you like this tomorrow. I stood there, perfectly calm, watching the whole circus parade pass me. No, he won't, I said, my voice cool as winter. He knows right from wrong. And he can't stand arrogant bullies. They screamed and cursed louder. And then Jiao Jiao played her last card. Lin Yuwei, she shrieked, twisting to look at me as she was carried away. Once the exile order comes down, you and Hua Xiwan are finished. You worked so hard to marry a man with an future. I'll watch you burn in hell. She was laughing like a villain in a bad drama, being physically removed from my wedding by soldiers, screaming about my doom. And I just stood there in my beautiful red dress, holding my husband's hand, thinking, girl, you're being carried toward a public toilet by 4 grown men while threatening me. Read the room. The thing is, She thought the exile was my death sentence. She didn't know I'd already spent an entire day at the black market buying enough supplies to survive a nuclear winter. She didn't know about my magic storage space. She didn't know I'd already planned for everything. Lin Jiaojiao thought she was watching me walk into a trap. But the truth was, I'd already turned the trap into a house, furnished it, stocked the fridge, and picked out curtains. So scream all you want, Jiao Jiao. The only one going down today
Is you.
into a public toilet, specifically. Happy wedding day to me. Lin Jiaojiao was being carried toward a public toilet by soldiers and somehow still had the audacity to be talking smack. Touch me and I'll report all of you. Hua Xiwan, you'd better stop them. We're your wife's parents. Lin father, watching the outhouse get closer and closer. Think about what you're doing. Huo Xiwan, the soldiers did not. In fact, think about what they were doing. Their feet only moved faster. The aunties were patting my arm going, "Don't worry, dear, the boys know their limits." Hua Xiwan squeezed my hand and quietly said, "Don't worry." Meanwhile, Jiao Jiao was on a roll. With her threats, Hua Xiwan, just wait for the exile order. And Lin Yue will dump you so fast. She'd rather be a servant in our house forever than follow you. Everything you've done for her is a joke. She was cackling like a cartoon villain being hauled away by four dudes.
Peak cinema.
The soldiers lifted the Lin family high. The stink ditch was right there. Wind up for the throw and, what are you doing? Everyone froze. Around the corner came a group of police officers and several men in mouse suits. Official looking. Very official looking. Put them down. The soldiers didn't want to put them down. But those mouse suit guys had, I outrank your entire family tree energy, so. Down went the Lin family. And the performance that followed. The instant their feet touched the ground, every Lin became an Oscar nominee. Officers. These soldiers have gone mad. Attacking innocent civilians. Leaders, please. These criminals must be punished. They tried to kill us. Sob sob, we were so scared. 3 seconds ago they were screaming threats. Now, they were crying victims. The range. The versatility. Hollywood could never. Then Jiao Jiao went for the gold medal. I formally report Lin Yue and Hua Xiwan as enemies of the people. Arrest the whole family. Send them to the countryside. Put them in cow sheds. They're all bad elements. The officials' faces went very, very still. Father Hua walked out and immediately recognized the men and investigation team from the capital. He shook hands, completely composed. Leaders, what brings you here? Has something happened? Jiao Jiao, still high on her own delusion, crowed. They're here to arrest your family. Obviously, she was glowing. This was her moment. Her revenge. Watching the Hua family get dragged away on what was supposed to be the happiest day of our lives. She turned to me and sneered at my red dress. How nice, Lin Yue, you dressed up so pretty just to see the Hua family off to prison. I slapped her. Full palm. Clean contact. The sound echoed beautifully off the compound walls. That, I said, is for running your mouth. As for why these people are actually here, you're about to find out. I wasn't 100% sure whether they'd come for the Hua family or the Lin family. But I knew one thing. Even if the Hua family couldn't escape their fate, the Lin family definitely couldn't escape theirs either. The lead investigator cleared his throat. Ladies, please calm down. We're here because we received a report that certain criminals came to this compound. Everyone looked around nervously. Father Hua asked, are they from our compound? No, they're capitalists. We received a tip that an entire family transferred their assets to Hong Kong. Very suspicious timing. Lin father's face drained of color instantly. That's slander. Jiao Jiao went from smug villain to ghost in 0.3 seconds. That's impossible. She looked at the investigation team, then at me, then back at them, then back at me. The light bulb flickered on. It was you, she screamed, pointing at me. Lin Yue, you did this. I'll kill you. She lunged at me. A soldier flattened her to the ground before she got 2 steps. Father Hua calmly pointed at the 4 Lins. Leaders, are you perhaps looking for a family surnamed Lin? Because these 4 right here are surnamed Lin. They're my daughter-in-law's adoptive family. My wife mentioned recently that their house was completely emptied out. I found it strange at the time, but apparently everything went to Hong Kong. We didn't do it. We're innocent. The investigation team looked completely unsurprised. They'd clearly seen this movie before. The police took custody of all 4 Lins from the soldiers. Professional handoff. Seamless. Lin father tried a new strategy. We were robbed. Everything was stolen. We were actually planning to donate 3 crates of silver to the government, but those got stolen too. The lead investigator looked at him the way a teacher looks at a student claiming the dog ate their homework, the backup homework, and the desk. How generous of you. Planning to donate 3 crates to the government, while shipping 17 crates to Hong Kong. Silence. Jiao Jiu started thrashing. What evidence do you have? Just because the Lin family used to be wealthy doesn't mean we shipped anything. Stop struggling, the officer snapped, tightening his grip. The lead investigator had clearly had enough. He looked at her like she was a bug on his windshield. Why are you fighting? The informant included your shipping receipts and boat tickets in the envelope. The evidence chain is complete. You're not talking your way out of this. Jiao Jiao froze for 1 second. Then, and I swear this girl's brain operates on a 5-second delay, she lit up like she'd cracked the case. Go investigate. Our house was robbed. Whoever has those shipping receipts is the person who stole from us. That proves we're victims. She was so pleased with herself. Beaming. Triumphant. She thought she'd just found the ultimate loophole. The investigation team stared at her like she was a performing monkey. I stepped forward. So, Lin Xiaojiao, you're confirming that your family did buy boat tickets and did create shipping documents specifically to transport those goods to Hong Kong. Is that correct? The smile on her face froze. Because what she'd just done, in front of the police, the investigation team, and approximately 60 witnesses, was confirm that the shipping documents were real and that they belonged to her family. She tried to prove her innocence and instead delivered a full confession. The investigation team didn't even need to respond. Everyone present could hear the sound of Jiao Jiao's legal defense collapsing like a house of cards in a hurricane. I looked at her face, the exact moment she realized what she'd done, and honestly, that was the best wedding gift anyone could have given me. Forget the jade bracelet. Forget the 10,000 yuan. Forget the radio from my magical TV friend. Watching Lin Jiaojiao outsmart herself into a prison sentence on my wedding day. Priceless. Lin Yue. You home-wrecking little. Jiaojiao was screaming at me like a feral cat in a bag. And then her darling little brother Lin Yuhao decided to help. He turned to the investigation team and yelled, "Do you even know who my sister's secret boyfriend is? He's the son of a big shot in the capital. One word from her and you're all dead." The lead investigators, I twitched. Jiaojia stared at her brother with the expression of someone watching their house burn down while the fire department sprays gasoline on it. "Shut up," she hissed. But Yuhao wasn't done. Oh no. This boy had more to contribute. He kicked Jiaojiao and shouted, "What are you yelling at me for? I was covering for you. I thought you were useful, but you're even more worthless than Lin Yue. Mom was right. Living with country bumpkins made you trash." Jiaojiao's face crumbled. She looked at Lin mother, hoping for, I don't know, basic maternal warmth?
Mom.
Am I not your child too? Lin mother's response? Jiao, stop being dramatic. Your brother is little. You're a grown woman competing with a child. Honestly, those country people taught you nothing good. And there it was, the ugly truth Jiao never wanted to face, even as the biological daughter, even after coming home. She'd never be as important as the precious baby boy. The Lin family didn't trade me because they loved Jiao more. They traded me because they needed a pawn. Any pawn. I couldn't help myself. You people use country folk and rural like insults. Maybe you should save that energy. You'll be spending the rest of your lives in the countryside getting reformed. Don't waste the government's generous opportunity. That shut all of them up. For about 4 seconds. We're not going to the countryside. 3 generations of upstanding citizens. On what grounds? Then Yuhao launched into the single most tone-deaf speech in human history. I refuse to go to some village. Do those peasants even know what a spring mattress is? Do they know roast duck? Do they know luxury goods? Do they know Italian handmade craftsmanship? They know nothing. They're hicks. I am not going to their miserable little. He was punching the officer, holding him while saying this. The kid was barely a teenager but already over 100 gene from his pampered lifestyle, and he actually hurt the cop. Brat with zero home training, the officer muttered, tightening his grip. That one comment set off Lin father and Lin mother like a bomb. Do you know who the Lin family is? When we were at our peak, you people were still playing in MUD. I'll report you to your superiors. Falsely accusing innocent citizens. I'll have you all fired. Jiao stood there watching her birth family self-destruct in real time, face turning green. These were the parents she'd schemed and manipulated to get back to? These loud, delusional, abusive people who couldn't stop digging their own grave even with investigators standing right there? The lead investigator finally snapped. Ordinary citizens don't know about haute couture or Italian imports, Mr. and Mrs. Lin. When we get to the station, those luxury items will be plenty for you to explain. Father who stepped in, partly to help, mostly because his son's wedding was still technically in progress, and these clowns were eating into reception time. Leaders, should I send some soldiers to help escort these difficult individuals? The Capitol investigator raised a hand with a thin smile. No need, thank you. For suspects who behave like wild donkeys, we have our own special way of tying them up. Wild donkeys. I'm going to remember that phrase for the rest of my life. Father Hua, ever the gracious host, had soldiers bring out jugs of wedding wine for the officers. I know you're on duty and can't stay for the banquet, but take some wine home. Share in the happy occasion. Nothing against regulations, I'm sure. Not at all. Thank you, Commander Hua. Handshakes all around, and then the police dragged away the Lin family, trussed up like holiday parcels. For people, zero dignity, infinite audacity.
Gone.
The compound went quiet. Father Hua turned to me first. Yue, don't let today's nonsense weigh on you. No matter what happens, you have me and you have Shiwan. Thank you, Uncle Hua. I meant it from the bottom of my heart. But the worry was still there, gnawing at me. The Lin family got arrested today, great. But what about the Hua family? The exile order was still coming. Father Hua caught me still calling him Uncle, and raised an eyebrow with a grin. Still Uncle Hua? I bit my lip, embarrassed. He laughed and let me off the hook. Don't worry, I know the rules. The wedding ceremony isn't finished yet. He strolled off with his buddies, and I was about to follow when Hua Shiwan caught my hand. He looked at me with those deep, dark eyes full of something soft and aching. Every time he saw the Lin family, he understood a little more about what my life had been like. The way they treated Jiao, their own flesh and blood, with casual cruelty, that was probably the nice version of how they'd treated me. Wei, he said quietly. Whatever comes for me in the future, I will do everything I can to protect you. The wedding continued. We served tea. I officially changed what I called his parents, Dad and Mom, now. The banquet ran from noon straight through to evening. The whole compound was feasting, laughing, celebrating. Then night fell. Wedding night. I walked into Hua Shiwan's room and stopped dead. His old military green single bed was gone. In its place, a gorgeous dark wood double bed. White sheets, white pillowcases, white duvet, each corner embroidered with mandarin ducks playing in water. The classic, newlyweds design. I was still staring at the bed in a daze when his shadow fell over me from behind.
Tall. Warm.
Very close. Tired, I took a step backward involuntarily and nodded. Go wash up first. I'll go after you're done. Okay. I turned to leave, but he stopped me, pointed at the wardrobe. I moved all your clothes over, right side of the closet, all of them. I froze. Looked at him, looked at the closet, looked back at him. Because my wardrobe did not contain only outerwear. There were other items in there. Personal items. Items that a man who has never dated should not have been handling. The implications hit me like a freight train. He'd touched he'd folded he'd organized I could feel my face reaching temperatures that could fry an egg. The man just stood there.
Calm. Composed.
As if he hadn't just casually relocated my entire underwear collection. Someone please end me.
So.
Wedding night. I was sitting on the bed with the fancy embroidered mandarin duck sheets, face burning, mentally preparing myself for, the thing. when I heard the compound gate creak open. A young soldier, sounding like he'd sprinted the whole way. Commander Hua, someone needs you at headquarters for an investigation. At night. On his wedding night. The entire army knew today was the wedding. Father Hua went to change. Hua Shiwan opened his door, hair still damp from his shower, looking concerned. What happened? Someone called Dad to the base, I said, accidentally using Dad for the first time because I was too distracted to be shy about it. He noticed. A tiny smile crossed his face even in that tense moment. He reached over and ruffled my hair. Don't worry. I'll go with Dad. Sleep early. Don't wait up. Be careful. Whatever happens, stay calm. Protect Dad. He made me lie down before he'd leave. Of course, the second he went downstairs, I ran to the window. He must have known I would, because when he reached the gate, he looked up. Our eyes met. 1,000 unspoken things between us. He waved for me to go inside. I didn't move until he disappeared. He didn't come back all night. I didn't sleep a single second. At dawn, I went downstairs and found Mother was sitting on the sofa. Same clothes as yesterday. She hadn't slept either. Wei Wei, why didn't you sleep more? Her voice was warm as always, but so hoarse it gave everything away. Mom, what? She cut me off, pulled out 2 savings books, and pressed them into my hands. This is everything your father and I have saved over the years. Keep it safe. If anything happens, please take care of Enin for us. My nose stung. These two had lived in this political environment for decades. They could smell danger coming like animals before an earthquake. Mother Hua was certain that if trouble came, Father Hua would take all the blame to protect his son. And she was handing me the family's finances because she might not be around to manage them. I held those savings books tight. I wanted to tell her the truth, that the whole family was going down, not just the parents. But I couldn't. Not yet. Mom, I'll hold on to these. When the storm passes, I'll return every cent. She looked at me with such warmth. Patted my hand. Wei Wei, you look soft on the outside, but you're steel on the inside. Shiwan is lucky to have found you. We're so happy for him. Meeting all of you is my luck, Mom. She smiled, and was about to say more when Enin started crying upstairs. She hurried off. I headed straight for the base. The guard at the gate asked who I was looking for. Was Shiwan. Something flickered in the guard's eyes. Pity? Regret? Before he said flatly, Comrade, Hua Shiwan still has matters to attend to. Please go home and wait. I want to go in. I planted myself in front of him with the energy of a woman who would stand there until the sun burned out. He wavered. Are you Comrade Hua Shiwan's wife? Yes. Which is exactly why I need to see him. He looked at me for a long moment. Then he straightened up and gave me a full military salute. Please go ahead. I walked through the base, asking around, until I finally found him, sitting alone in the middle of the training field. A single figure in a vast, empty space. His back looked so lonely it physically hurt to see. He must have heard footsteps, because without turning around, he said, Is my divorce report approved? I felt lightning hit every nerve in my body. Cold shot up from my toes to the top of my skull. I couldn't speak, couldn't move, just stood there, frozen. He sensed something was off, turned around, saw it was me, and not whoever he'd been expecting. Every drop of color drained from his face. He stood up, took a step toward me, then stopped himself. It took me what felt like 100 years to find my voice. Hua Shiwan.
What do you
mean? Comrade Lin Yue, please don't get upset. Comrade Lin Yue. Last night it was Wei Wei. This morning it's Comrade Lin Yue, like we're strangers at a government office. I laughed. The kind of laugh that means someone is about to get hurt. I bent down, grabbed a fistful of sand, and hurled it at him. Oh, we're back to Comrade Lin Yue now? Hua Shiwan, do you know we got married yesterday? Yesterday, it was the first time I'd ever lost it in front of him. Full meltdown. Sand throwing, voice cracking, no dignity left meltdown. A tear slid down his cheek. He turned away to wipe it. When he faced me again, his eyes were cold. Deliberately, painfully cold. We got married yesterday. The feelings are average. I don't want to continue. Comrade Linue, this is perfectly normal. Perfectly normal. This man, who sent an entire company to pick wildflowers for me, who designed my wedding dress by hand, who got on one knee with a silver ring, who said, "Only her," in front of 100 people, who climbed over a wall at dawn, so nobody would catch him sleeping in my room, who looked at me with eyes like I was the only star in his sky. This man was now telling me with a straight face that our feelings were average. I ran at him and punched him.
Twice.
He didn't dodge, didn't block, just stood there and took it looking down at me. I punched until my arms gave out, then collapsed onto the sandy ground. He reached for me, then pulled his hand back just before touching my arm. I saw that. I saw him stop himself, and it made me even more furious. I kicked the sand and exploded.
Hwashiwan.
Do you think cutting me loose the second trouble hits makes you some kind of noble hero? Did you ever once think to ask what I want? Or did you believe Lin Jiaojiao that the moment things go bad, I'd be the first one packing my bags? He stood there, silent, the fake coldness cracking at the edges. 12 hours. We had been married for 12 hours, and this man had already written a divorce report. I've lived 2 whole lifetimes, and I have never met anyone this simultaneously wonderful and infuriating. You design me a dress, Hwashiwan. You don't get to design my exit. Wei. The man looked at me like his heart was being put through a meat grinder. He wanted to tell me he'd never doubted me. But instead, this beautiful idiot said, "We haven't really known each other that low, Hwashiwan. Choose your next words very carefully. If your answer doesn't satisfy me, I'm walking away right now." For real. That shut him up. He could see it in my eyes. One more, Comrade Linue, and I was gone. Not because I didn't care, but because a person can only be noble sacrificed against their will so many times before they snap. He was about to say something cold and heroic again when I grabbed his hand. His eyes went wide, then red. He slowly crouched down in front of me, right there in the sand.
Wei.
You don't understand what's happening. If you stay with me, it'll be so hard. I know. Exile to the northeast.
No se place.
Freezing cold. What else you got? He blinked.
You. Knew?
Who told you? Oh, honey. Nobody told me. I'm literally from the future. But I wasn't about to explain that sitting in a military sandpit. I looked him dead in the eyes. Hwashiwan, here's my answer. You're my husband. Where you go, I go. You're not the only person in the world who gets to be noble, he sighed. His tough guy voice crumbled into something soft and desperate. I know you'd suffer alongside me. I know how strong you are. But I don't want you to go through this. We've been married one day. If I apply to the organization now, they can give you back your freedom. Freedom? You mean the freedom of being completely alone with nowhere to go? That kind of freedom? I played my ace card. Besides, my birth parents are in the Northeast. Maybe I'll finally find them. I grabbed his big stupid hand.
Hwashiwan.
I'm going with you. All of you. His grip tightened around my fingers. He stood there for the longest time before squeezing out a single word. Okay. I suggested we go find Father Hor. The man had been up all night dealing with this bombshell. He had to be in rough shape. Hwashiwan suddenly got very fidgety. Started stammering, suggesting we go home instead. Dragging his feet. Walking in slow circles like a dog avoiding the vet. This man, battlefield commander, stone-cold tactical genius, could not lie to save his life. Something was up. I stopped asking and just started marching toward Father H's location myself. Hwashiwan scrambled after me like a panicked golden retriever. Wei, maybe we should just wait at home. I ignored him. He reached for my arm. I swatted his hand away and gave him a look that could curdle milk. When I found the conference room, the door was cracked open and I heard Father H's voice, loud, emotional, furious, which was shocking because this man had the composure of a glacier on a normal day. Old Lee, you were at my son's wedding yesterday. You saw what a good girl my daughter-in-law is. She's been married one day, and tomorrow she is to go to exile with us? How is that fair? Slam. He hit the table. I don't care how you do it. This divorce report will be approved. I have never asked you for anything in all these years. If my daughter-in-law gets dragged into exile because of US, how am I supposed to face her? She just had the worst luck in the world marrying into our family, so that's what they've been doing all night. Father and son, working together behind my back, trying to divorce me for my own good. A family conspiracy of self-sacrificing idiots. The commander on the other side, Old Lee, was trying to calm him down. Brother, I know, but divorce applications take way longer than marriage ones to process. I don't care. Make it happen. This was Father Hua, the man who'd spent decades being the picture of calm, collected military discipline, literally sitting on a desk, throwing a tantrum like a toddler denied candy.
For me.
Because he couldn't bear the thought of dragging me into their disaster. I knocked on the door. Hua tried to stop me. I turned and gave him a glare so sharp he physically flinched, then pushed through. Father Hua saw me and scrambled off the desk like a teenager caught doing something embarrassing. Yue, this has nothing to do with you, sweetie, just let Shiwan take you home. Dad. The moment I chose to marry Hua, I chose every battlefield that comes with it. Lin Yue is no deserter. Yue, Father Hua's nose went red. He spun around, grabbed Commander Lee by the collar and yelled, "Open your dog eyes and look. Look at how good my daughter-in-law is. You'd let a girl like this go suffer with us? Are you even human?" Commander Lee's face turned the color of a ripe tomato. I know she's wonderful. You and Shiwan are incredible talents too. If I could save you, I'd give up my own rank. But I can't. Father Hua was so frustrated he looked ready to throw hands at his oldest friend. I stepped in. Dad, my mind is made up. Let's go home. He looked at me, looked at his useless son standing there like a statue. He barked at Hua. Did you even explain the situation properly? Hua said nothing. He just stood there. The man had tried to divorce me, failed. Tried to have his father divorce me, and also failed. A perfect 0-4-2. I took over. Dad, I understand everything. Exile to the Northeast. Building up the wilderness. Limited resources. But the Northeast is vast and rich. There's no reason we can't build something great there. I tugged Huashiwan's sleeve, signaling him to please say something helpful to his father. He looked at me, looked at his dad, and then turned to Commander Lee and said, "Uncle Lee, how fast can the divorce report be processed?" Shiwan. I stamped my foot so hard the floor shook.
Commander Lee Winsa.
Fastest? Half a month. But you're shipping out in 2 days at most. That's your work efficiency, Father Hua snapped. He knew the timeline was impossible, but he was going to complain about it anyway because that was all he had left. I looked at Commander Lee with steel in my eyes. Please cancel the application. Then I turned to Father Hua with the weapon that always works. Dad, Mama's been up all night worrying about you. The report won't come through in time anyway. Can we please just go home? Mother Hua's father Hua's weakness. The instant he heard she'd been awake all night, his eyes went red. He wavered, then pointed at Commander Lee one last time. You'd better stay on this. Yes, go home. I'll send word immediately if anything changes. Commander Lee watched us leave and let out a long, relieved breath. He muttered to himself that this daughter-in-law was something else. She'd just tamed the 2 most stubborn men in the entire military district in under 5 minutes. We walked home. Father Hua went inside safely. Mother Hua was waiting. The moment he crossed the threshold, I grabbed Huashiwan and pulled him back outside. He looked at me, confused. I said, "Comrade Huashiwan, take me to the hospital." The look on his face? Absolute.
Blank.
Terror. That's right, buddy. You spent all night trying to divorce me. Now I might be pregnant. Karma works fast around here. Where does it hurt? What's wrong? Huashiwan was scanning me up and down like a human MRI machine. I pressed my lips together. Just take me to the hospital. He pulled out the bicycle without another word, and off we went. But the man could not stop asking questions while pedaling. Wei, how do you feel? Did yesterday scare you? Was it something you ate? Was it because I made you angry? Is it my fault? It's my fault, isn't it? Pedal faster and talk less. He muttered under his breath. If you're sick, that's even more reason I can't drag you to the Northeast. Oh, this man. Still plotting my divorce while biking me to the hospital. Multitasking king. Here's the thing, I wasn't totally sure the test would even show anything this early. But we were shipping out to the wilderness in 2 days, and if there was a tiny bean already setting up camp in my belly, I needed to know. If not, I'd delay the baby-making project. No child of mine was going to start life in survival mode if I could help it. He pedaled so hard the bicycle wheels were practically shooting sparks. We arrived at the hospital looking like we'd outrun a tornado. At the registration window, the nurse asked flatly, "What are you here for?" "I'd like a blood test." "What are you here for?" She was already annoyed. I scrambled for something that wouldn't make my brand new husband pass out on the hospital floor. "I've been nauseous. Might be food poisoning. Want to check with blood work?" Yes, it's hot out. Be careful what you eat." Her attitude improved immediately. Food poisoning. Boring, relatable, zero awkwardness. Perfect cover. The blood draw was quick. Results. 2 hours. Huashiwan found a shady stone bench, took off his jacket, folded it neatly on the seat so my precious behind wouldn't touch cold stone, and sat me down like I was made of porcelain. "Is the nausea bad? Did you eat something bad at the banquet?" Sweat was beading on his forehead. The man had been through a political upheaval, an attempted self-divorce, a sand-throwing incident, and a bicycle sprint, all before lunch, and his primary concern was still whether I ate a bad shrimp. An hour crawled by. I was getting genuinely nervous, fidgeting with my fingers. Wei, no matter what happens, I'll take care of everything. Don't worry." Sweet words, except this was the same man who'd been trying to divorce me all morning, so take care of everything had some pretty terrifying possible meanings. Results time. I dragged him into the doctor's office. The doctor looked us over. "How long have you been married?" Huashiwan opened his mouth. One year," I said loudly, stomping on the truth before it could escape. Because one day would have raised questions I was not prepared to answer in a public hospital. The doctor nodded. "Well then, congratulations. The female comrade is pregnant. Very early stage, take extra care, plenty of rest, no heavy labor." Silence. "Huashiwan, Yexi has stopped working."
He stared at me.
Joy flickered across his face, immediately tackled by worry, immediately body slammed by confusion, immediately pile-drived by more worry. The man's face was a championship wrestling match of emotions. Outside the hospital, I looked at him.
"So,
Still want that divorce." He sighed and took my hand. I could see his brain doing the math. Divorced single mother in 1970s China equals impossible life. But pregnant wife on a grueling journey to the frozen Northeast equals also terrible. Wei. His voice went serious. I slapped my hand over his mouth before a single noble syllable could escape.
Huashiwan."
"If those words leave your lips, I will actually leave you. And I mean it this time." I marched to the bike. He followed, speechless. The ride home was quiet. A baby should be happy news. But a baby 2 days before exile to the wilderness? The timing was cosmically terrible. The universe had a sick sense of humor. At the front door, he said solemnly, Wei, I need to discuss this with my parents." "Fine. But if you use this as another excuse to leave me behind or, God forbid, suggest I get rid of the baby, I will take this child and marry someone else. And your kid will call another man daddy." Wei. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He ruffled my hair. "You really like me that much? Life and death together. Don't flatter yourself." I swatted his hand away and looked anywhere but at him. We told his parents. Pregnant? Really? Father and mother whose faces went through the exact same joy to terror speedrun as their sons. Must be genetic. Father who opened his mouth. Yue, I cut him off before he could launch into divorce speech 3.0. Mom, Dad, the pregnancy has to stay secret. If the wrong people find out, it could cause problems for us. Yes, good thinking. Mother Ho agreed immediately. Father Ho pressed his lips together, realizing I'd blocked him on purpose. He sighed silently, patted his son's shoulder with a, "This is your fault," energy, and retreated to his room. Mother Ho was about to follow when I stopped her.
Mom.
Are the family belongings all packed? Yes. They'll let us bring some clothes and luggage, but money and valuables can't come along. Everything's boxed up. Someone's coming tomorrow to take it all. Then she added gently, you and Shiwan's money will probably be seized too. Right now, the priority is just keeping everyone safe. Mom, can you give me the extra money and valuables? I have a way to keep them safe. She hesitated. Not because she didn't trust me. I could see that clearly. She was worried about putting me at risk.
Mom.
I'm 100% certain I can protect everything. She studied my face for a long time. Then she pulled out a key. Everything's in the study. It's all yours now, Yue. Thank you, Mom. The second she went upstairs, I went into the study and locked the door.
I did not invite Hwashiwan.
I did not explain what I was doing. And he, bless this man's bizarre instincts, didn't ask. He just stood outside the door like a guard dog who'd learned not to question the boss. Inside the study, generations of her family savings. Father was military salary books, calligraphy scrolls, rare books. Those I left alone. But mother was family heirlooms? Over a dozen massive chests. I didn't even peek inside. Just shoved every single one into my spatial pocket like I was speedrunning a warehouse heist. 3 minutes flat.
Done.
I walked out of the study. Hwashiwan was still standing at the door. He looked past me into the room. The study that had been packed floor to ceiling with boxes and chests 3 minutes ago was now completely, impossibly, hilariously empty. He stared at the empty room. He stared at me. He stared at the empty room again. He stared at me again. I stared back, offering absolutely zero explanation. The man who'd spent all morning trying to divorce me was now realizing that his wife might not be entirely normal. Welcome to the marriage, Hwashiwan. It only gets weirder from here. I stood there in the doorway of the now empty study, trying to block Hwashiwan's line of sight with my body, which was like trying to hide a football field behind a chopstick. The man looked at the room, looked at me. A room that had been packed with a dozen massive chests 3 minutes ago was now as bare as a monk's closet. And then, bless this man's soul, he simply said, let's go upstairs. You should rest. And no questions. Not a single one. Not where did everything go? Not are you a witch? Not should I call a priest? Just go rest. He even drew me a bath. Once we're on the road, bathing won't be easy. Enjoy it tonight. I soaked in that tub thinking, either this man has absolutely zero curiosity, or he trusts me so completely that his wife making a room full of family heirlooms vanish into thin air doesn't even register as a conversation topic. Either way, I married the right person. Downstairs, the neighbors came in waves all evening. Everyone in the compound had heard about the Hua family situation, and they showed up to comfort Mother Hua, one tearful auntie after another, until past 10 at night. Finally, quiet. I was drifting off when a horrible thought jolted me upright. I hadn't done my daily prize draw in 2 days. Was my 600 yuan bonus gone? What's wrong? Hwashiwan murmured. Nothing. Are you? Sleepy, smooth Lin Yue. Real smooth. I needed him asleep. I literally disappear from the room when I enter my space, and having my husband witness his wife evaporate on their second night of marriage would be problematic. I'm sleepy, he said. And within seconds, his breathing was deep and even. Already? Men really do just close their eyes and power down like a laptop, huh? Still, I had to be sure. I leaned close to his ear. Hwashiwan? Are you asleep? Hwashiwan, nothing. Out cold. I slipped into the space and sprinted to the little TV, desperately pulling up the daily check-in screen. Yesterday's date had 2 characters on it. Leave day. I blinked. Little TV helpfully explained, for weddings and funerals, if you forget to check in, the system grants an automatic excused absence. No penalty. I patted the screen lovingly. Well, look at you being all considerate and humane. A big goofy grinning emoji popped up on the screen. Dorky little guy. All right, prize time. We were heading into exile tomorrow morning. Who knew what kind of terrible people we'd encounter on the road? I thought about what would be useful and muttered, if we run into any bad guys, you wouldn't happen to have some kind of instant death pill I could use on them? Little TV shuddered. A message appeared. Little TV does not currently offer murder services. Little TV does not provide counterfeit medicine. Oh, so you do have principles. My twitched. This thing could apparently read my mind in real time. Every dark thought, every half-baked scheme, nothing got past this glorified toaster. I shook the homicidal thoughts out of my head and hit the start button. The screen went crazy, scrolling through prizes like a slot machine on caffeine. Good stuff. Weird stuff. Things I'd never seen before. I let it spin for so long the little TV looked like it was about to overheat and catch fire. Stop. The screen stuttered and slowly coughed up a piece of paper. Another coupon.
Great.
I picked it up. It read, "System predicts. Owner is about to take a long trip. Have a pleasant journey." I stared at it. You predicted that I'm going on a trip? The trip that everyone knows about? The trip we're literally leaving on tomorrow morning. The little TV displayed a nervous, sweaty smile emoji. Then it added, "Travel, the art of going from a place you're sick of to a place someone else is sick of. I'm turning you off." I started hunting for the power button. Little TV immediately flashed a terrified begging for mercy face. I wasn't actually going to do anything, just wanted to watch it squirm. But as I was putting away the useless fortune cookie of a coupon, I noticed tiny print on the back. This product is a Sit Easy. Essential companion for long-distance travel. Sit Easy. No idea what that meant. But my policy with free mystery items was simple. If it can't hurt me, use it. I activated it, popped out of the space, and immediately checked on Huashiwan. Still lying in the exact same position, flat on his back, arms at his sides. Military precise even in his sleep. Hadn't moved a millimeter.
Good.
I closed my eyes and actually slept. Morning. The man was already gone. I dressed and came downstairs to find the living room looking like a government convention. Men in military uniforms. Men in mouse suits. The investigation team from the capital. And surrounding them all, a fortress wall of neighborhood aunties. Leaders, are you sure you have the right family? This has to be a mistake. You people sitting in your capital offices don't know the Hor family. They're good people. The men have served with distinction. Go back and check again. The investigators looked deeply uncomfortable. Arguing with determined middle-aged women was clearly not in their training manual. They could only smile awkwardly and mumble vague non-answers. Mother Hu spotted me on the stairs. "Wei Wei, come to Mama." The aunties all turned to look. I was about to greet them when a voice from the side said, "Comrade Lin Yue?" I turned and froze. Comrade Zhou. It was Zhou Xia, the investigator from the capital I'd met before. The one connected to Lin Jiaojiao's schemes. Running into him here was unexpected. "Comrade Lin, I never imagined your fiancé would be Commander Hua." The way he said it, never imagined and would be, sent a chill through me. This wasn't surprise. This was someone who'd known about the Hua investigation before my wedding. "Comrade Zhou, what do you mean by..." "Xiao Zhou, come here." One of the mouse suit officials pulled him away before I could finish. Interesting. And unsettling. Before I could process it, the aunties swarmed me. "Yue, you absolute champion." Auntie Wang was practically vibrating. "I've admired very few people in my life, but you're one of them now. Wang Ju, what are you saying? You'll scare the girl." "No, listen. My husband told me. When Shiwan found out about the exile, the first thing he did was file for divorce to set Yue free. And this girl said no. Said she's no deserter. Said she's going with him. Have you ever?" The aunties erupted. What a girl. What a couple. They deserve each other. Both made of steel. I was blushing so hard my face could light a cigarette. I didn't think about it that much, really. I married him. I go where he goes. We'll make a good life wherever we end up. Auntie Wang wiped her tears. The stronger I acted, the more they cried. Auntie Lu had to physically shove Auntie Wang and remind her, "Stop crying. They'll come back. This isn't forever." Right. They'll definitely come back," I nodded. I actually knew from my previous life that Hoshiwan did eventually return to the city, and things turned out well. In my last life, Lin Jiaojiao had received a letter from him searching for me, panicked because he'd become successful, and rushed to tell me he was looking for me, right before claiming she'd tell him I was dead, so she could steal whatever benefits she could squeeze from him using my identity. That was last life. This life? Jiao Jiao was sitting in a jail cell, and I was standing in Huashiwan's house, wearing his ring, carrying his baby, and holding the keys to his family's entire fortune in my magical invisible pocket. Funny how things work out when you stop being a victim and start being the one with the plan. I told the Annies we'd be fine, that the whole family would come back safe and sound. I meant it too. But they heard something different. They heard a young woman so madly in love she'd follow her man to the frozen edge of the earth. They grabbed Huishiwan by the collar, figuratively, and demanded he treat me like absolute royalty. This girl is only going because she loves you to death, Huishiwan. You'd better cherish her. Hug her. Right now. In front of everyone, they literally forced this man, this glacier of a human being, to hold me in his arms in front of the entire neighborhood. His ear tips turned the color of tomato soup. I didn't know whether to laugh or dig a hole and climb in. We were both standing there like two mannequins someone had posed in a department store window. Mercifully, someone announced the truck had arrived. Time to go. The aunties instantly dissolved into a waterfall of tears. Mother Hu's eyes went red too as she said her goodbyes to the old sisters she'd lived beside for decades. 3 families from our compound were being sent away. The other 2 were already in the truck bed, eyes swollen from crying. Little Enine saw them and burst into tears herself. Father Hu scooped up both her and Mother Hua and lifted them onto the high truck bed like they weighed nothing. When it was my turn, I tried to pull myself up by the railing like a capable, independent woman. My arms said no. But before gravity could humiliate me, 2 hands grabbed me from behind and launched me upward like a human catapult.
Huishiwan.
Obviously. I turned and offered him my hand to help him up. He smiled, grabbed the railing, and vaulted onto the truck in one fluid motion like an action movie hero. So my hand just hung there in the air. Useless. Before I could awkwardly withdraw it, he caught my fingertips. Between husband and wife, he said seriously, mutual assistance is important, sir. You just jumped 4 feet into the air, without breaking a sweat. You did not need my help. But okay.
Sure.
Mutual assistance. Whatever helps you sleep at night. Zhou Xia waved goodbye from below, eyes heavy with something unspoken. Comrade Linyue, farewell. Farewell, Comrade Zhou. Then I watched the men in mouse suits paste official seals across the Hu family's front door. Sealing it shut. Sealing away the home where I'd gotten married 2 days ago. I stared at that door until the truck pulled away, and I couldn't see it anymore. The road was brutal. Every bump felt like a personal attack on my internal organs. Huishiwan tried to pull me onto his lap to cushion the ride, and I had to hiss at him. Comrade Huishiwan, consider the optics. He smiled helplessly. The man cared more about my comfort than public perception. Sweet, but we were surrounded by investigators. Read the room, soldier. We arrived at the train station. And what a scene. Crying everywhere. Wailing. Hysteria. And cutting through it all, 2 very familiar, very annoying voices. I'm not going to that godforsaken place. I refuse. Me neither. My brother-in-law is a big deal. He's with the Capital Investigation Team. Go ask him, Lin Yuhao. Of course. I stood up expressionlessly, fully committed to pretending they didn't exist, but the little brat spotted me first. His face lit up like he'd won the lottery. Lin Yue? ISU. You're being exiled too. Jiao Jiao was right. This is amazing. I have to go tell Mom and Dad. I looked at this overfed child jumping with joy at my misfortune and said flatly, glad you're having fun. But just so you know, we're going to a cadre school. You're going to a village to live in a cow shed. So take your 100+ gene of premium marbled fat and go enjoy rural life. His face collapsed like a souffle in an earthquake. He started spewing curses, so foul that everyone around us physically recoiled. Huishiwan moved to shut him up, but I stopped him. No need. A plainclothes officer with something hard and official looking on his belt appeared behind Yuhao and smacked him across the back of the head. You have the nerve to curse at people? Scum, like you should count your blessings, you're only being exiled. Should have been shot. The man was 2 heads taller than Yuhao and radiated pure menace. Little Lord Yuhao shriveled like a salted slug and scurried behind Lin Jiaojiao. Jiaojiao sidestepped. She didn't even want him touching her. In her mind, this brainless, Spoiled blob was the parasite who'd stolen all the parental love that should have been hers. And the idiot had just blabbed about a brother-in-law on the investigation team, loud enough for every officer in earshot to hear. If the plainclothes guy had taken that seriously, they'd all be in deeper trouble. Then Lin Mother did something that made my stomach turn. She pushed Jiao Jiao toward the plainclothes officer, practically shoving her into his chest, and said with a suggestive little wink, "Officer, don't be angry, my son is just young. If you need anything, talk to my daughter here. She's very understanding." Every person on that platform understood exactly what Lin Mother was offering. Parents pulled their daughters behind them. People looked away in disgust. Lin Mother was trying to use her own biological daughter as currency. Hua Shiwan's jaw tightened. Every time he saw the Lin family in action, he understood my childhood a little more. He lifted me off the truck like I was made of glass and steered our family away. "It's chaotic out here. Mom, Dad, let's board the train." We stepped into the train car and had a brief moment of collective horror. We'd expected bad. We got catastrophic.
Bara metalåls.
Black soot everywhere. The doors on both sides were wide open, letting in gusts of coal-black wind. This car had previously transported coal, and nobody had bothered to clean it. Not even a little. Not even as a gesture. Hua Shiwan used his foot to clear a patch of floor, then spread a blanket over it. A watching officer sneered, "Only people like you would be fussy at a time like this. Wait till you reach the great northern wilderness. See if you're still this precious." Hua Shiwan didn't even look at him. Just settled Mother Hua, Father Hua, and Inin on the blanket, saving the last clean spot for me. He stood. No clean ground left for himself. Didn't even mention it. The car filled up. People who recognized Father Hua and Hua Shiwan tried to greet them, but the guards shut it down fast. "Enough. Doesn't matter who you were before. In here, you're all classified the same. Bad elements." Everyone went quiet. Nobody wanted to poke the bear. When the Lin family finally squeezed on, only the spots by the open doors were left. Lin Father looked at the filthy floor like it had personally offended his ancestors. Lin Yuhao pinched his nose. "This is worse than our maid's room." Every single person in the car glared at him. He didn't notice. Self-awareness. Still at zero. Then the little prince grabbed Jiao Jiao and pointed at the black, soot-covered ground.
"Sit down."
"I want you to hold me." "No," Lin Father silenced her with a glare. "Do as your brother says." Jiao Jiao's face turned purple with rage. The clothes she was wearing were borrowed. She'd endured a full day of dirty looks from her cousin, just to get them. Her one outfit. And now they wanted her to sit in coal dust and serve as a human cushion for a boy who treated her like furniture. Lin Father twisted the knife. "What's wrong? At your foster parents' house, you could wash the whole family's laundry in the dead of winter. But now that you're with your real family, suddenly you're too good for a little dirt." And there it was. The Lin family, distilled to its purest form. I watched from my clean blanket spot, my husband standing guard beside me, and thought, "Jiao Jiao, you schemed your whole rebirth to get back to these people. You betrayed me, plotted against me, tried to destroy me. Also, you could return to a family that uses you as a doormat and pimps you out to strangers. Was it worth it? Was it ever going to be worth it? Mom, Dad, how can you treat me like this?" Jiao Jiao's eyes were red, scanning the car for anyone who might defend her. Instead, her gaze landed on me, sitting comfortably on a clean blanket. Her brain short-circuited. She pointed at my blanket and shrieked at the guards. "How come they get a blanket? Is this discrimination?" Then she lunged at me, trying to yank the blanket out from under my butt like a deranged magician doing the tablecloth trick. I swatted her grimy hand away without even standing up. "We were told we could bring luggage. What happened to yours?" "Oh, wait. You shipped everything to Hong Kong and didn't even keep a blanket?" Rough. The entire car heard that. "Wait, they're the ones who smuggled money to Hong Kong. So it was this family? The traders, and they have the nerve to complain about blankets." A plainclothes officer strolled over, looking at the Lin family, like something stuck to his shoe. "Officer, we're innocent. We were framed," Jiao Jiao whimpered, reaching for his sleeve with both hands. The man recoiled like she was radioactive. Don't touch me. You grab my hand today. Tomorrow you'll claim I had an affair with you and try to frame me. Jiao Jiao turned the color of a brick. She was actually kind of pretty. In her mind, a man should feel lucky she touched him. The officer wasn't done. Cold smile. You think you deserve politeness? Let me tell you something. This train car is the luxury option. The last batch? Noruf. Some of them didn't even make it to the Northeast alive. Every face in the car went white, including mine, honestly. He patted the iron thing on his belt. So sit down, behave, and abandon any cute ideas about escaping. I have permission to shoot first and file paperwork later. Then he slammed both car doors shut, locked them from outside, climbed through the connector to his own compartment.
Gone. Instant darkness.
The coal smell intensified tenfold. Sweat started forming on every surface, human and metal. The train started moving and wind whistled through the door cracks, but it wasn't enough to cool a car packed wall-to-wall with miserable people. Between the rattling wheels and the howling wind, the noise was unbearable. Complaints began rising like steam. When does this end? I'm so hungry. Do they feed us? I'm starving too. Mommy, Daddy, I'm hungry. I want food. That last one was Lin Yuhao, of course, tugging on his parents' sleeves like a giant toddler. Lin father and Lin mother had been standing this whole time, refusing to let their precious clothes touch the filthy floor. But the train's swaying eventually won. They sat. And within minutes, the coal dust had painted them head to toe in a beautiful, even coat of black. They were so horrified by their own appearance they couldn't speak. When Yuhao's whining finally snapped them out of it, did they yell at the spoiled brat who'd been screaming for 3 hours straight? Of course not. They turned to Jiao Jiao, who'd been holding Yuhao on her lap this entire time like an unpaid nanny, and barked, "Go ask when they're serving food." Jiao Jiao dragged herself up. She was heading toward the connector when she spotted little Enine putting something in her mouth. Her fingers shot out like a missile. "What are you eating?" The car erupted. "Someone has food. Commander Hua, does your family have food? Sir, my child is about to faint from hunger. Could you spare just one bite?" Begging voices bounced off the metal walls. Jiao Jiao stood there with her arms crossed, smug as a cat who'd knocked a glass off the table. So, the Hua family is eating in secret? Former military leaders hoarding food while ordinary people starve? Doesn't look great, does it? Please, Commander, just a mouthful for the children. The adults can wait, but the little ones can't hold on. People crowded in. Father Hua was stuck. During one of the tunnel passes, when it was pitch black, I'd quietly handed everyone food from my space. But he couldn't exactly announce that. Before he could come up with a cover story, I grabbed Hua Xiwan's arm and stood up. "How pampered," Jiao Jia muttered, watching me use my husband as a support beam. A man with no future, and she's still showing him off like a trophy. Pathetic. I heard every word. So I leaned into Hua Xiwan's chest a little more.
Just to really drive the knife in.
Jealous? Then feast your eyes, sweetheart. I felt his chest muscles tense up under me.
Oh?
Why so nervous, soldier? I glanced at him, then turned to face the crowd. That's right. I have food. 50 white flour steamed buns. Dead silence.
She
actually has food, did she say? 50? White flour? In this economy, you can't even get 50 corn buns, and she has 50 white flour ones. People started opening negotiations immediately. "Comrade Lin, I'll trade you my jacket for some buns. I've got 5 fin. Is that enough?" I hit a whole yuan in my shoe sole. "Can I get 4? Everyone scrambling to flash whatever tiny treasure they'd smuggled aboard. I turned to Jiao Jiao. "What about you? What are you trading?" Her eyes narrowed. Then she grinned. She thought she'd found the angle. "Lin Yue, have you gone crazy for money? You'd charge your own parents and siblings for a bun? Our parents raised you for 18 years. The least you can do is feed us." She planted her hands on her hips, radiating confidence. In her mind, the math was unbeatable. I couldn't refuse without looking ungrateful in front of everyone. Social pressure was her weapon. She held up her hand like she was placing a fast food order. "We won't be greedy. 30 buns for us. You can keep the other 20 for your family. 30 out of 50. This girl wanted 60% of my food for people who locked me in a closet to die. The car had thoughts about this. Who do you think you are? Demanding 30, just like that. Get out of the way, you shameless leech. But Jiao Jiao puffed up bigger. Lin Yue is my sister. My parents raised her for 18 years. Are you saying I don't have the right to ask for her buns? People hesitated. The filial duty card was powerful in this era. Maybe the spoiled brat had a point. I looked at Jiao Jiao with the patience of a saint dealing with a particularly stupid pigeon. Lin Jiao Jiao, I'll ask you one more time.
What are you?
Trading. Her smug face faltered. She'd expected guilt. She'd expected shame. She'd expected me to fold. What she got was a businesswoman who didn't give free samples. Not even to family. Especially not to family. We don't have anything to trade. Lin Yue, are you really going to make mom and dad come BG you personally? Jiao Jiao glanced behind her. Lin father and Lin mother were sitting there with their chins up, radiating. We are too dignified to ask for bread, energy. As if I should feel honored to crawl over and offer them food. I gave Jiao Jiao a little wave. By hand, wiggling fingers, and everything. You are genuinely the most shameless person I've ever met. You've somehow made freeloading sound poetic. Impressive, but no. I turned to the man with the hidden shu yuan. 2 mao per bun. 5 for 1 yuan. Deal. 2 mao? Lin Yue, why don't you just rob people? Jiao Jiao screeched. I didn't even look at her. Special circumstances. Cash is worthless right now. Food is king. I looked at the buyer. 2 mao each. Take it or leave it. I'll take them. Here, he shoved the crumpled yuan into my hand so fast you'd think it was on fire. I counted out 5 buns. Transaction complete. 15 buns sold at 2 mao each. Every family in the car had food now. Every family except one. The Lin family turned their pockets inside out. Between 4 people, 0. Not 1 fun. Not a single coin. These people had shipped 17 crates to Hong Kong and didn't keep bus fare. Lin father gritted his teeth, but put on his nice dad voice. Yue, we're family after all. How about this? Give us 20 buns on credit, and when we arrive, dad will pay you back. Pay me back with what? Does your face have a cash value in the Northeast? Because I'm guessing it doesn't. How dare you speak to your father that way? Lin mother shot up, finger aimed at my nose, ready to unleash verbal hellfire. I cut her off. I started a business here. I can't give away free product. What would the paying customers think of me? Lin mother, mid-rage, suddenly realized she needed to switch tactics. Her face softened into something almost maternal. Wei, sweetie, we're family. Mommy was good to you when you were little. People had finished eating by now. Full bellies meant energy for gossip. Heads swiveled back and forth between us like a tennis match. Someone whispered, I mean, if they're really her parents, giving them a couple buns wouldn't hurt. 20 is too many, but 2 seems reasonable. Yeah, that's fair. I could feel father and mother were getting nervous behind me. Public opinion was a weapon in this era. Mob mentality could crush you. Before they could step in, I spoke.
Calm. Clear.
If these were parents who truly loved me, even if they weren't my birth parents, I wouldn't just give them 20 buns. They could eat my own flesh and I'd let them. Pause. But whatever bond we had was ground to dust by years of beatings, being locked in dark closets, and every kind of cruelty you can imagine. The car went silent.
Wait.
Is she serious? They're her adoptive parents? That explains a lot. Oh wait, aren't these the people who crashed the Hua wedding and got arrested by police? Those people. They're absolute monsters. Let them starve. Public opinion. Reversed in 3 sentences flat. I sat down. Patted the bundle beside me. These buns are for good people. Anyone who's hurt me can watch from a distance while they die of hunger. I won't even blink. Lin Yuwei, you've gone too far. Jiao Jiao stomped her feet. Lin father rolled up his sleeves and came charging at me like a bull who'd forgotten he had no horns. I didn't move. Just looked up at him and said, I'm curious. Can a man with 0 combat skills beat my husband? You know, the one who's been training on actual battlefields for years. Lin father froze mid-step. His fist hovered. His brain did a quick risk assessment. The results were not in his favor. 18 years of living with this man taught me one thing. Lin father was a classic bully. Only attacks people weaker than him. The second I showed any fear, that slap would have landed on my face. But I didn't flinch, so he had nothing. I gave him a look of pure contempt. He sat down, jaw clenched so hard I thought his molars might shatter. But he didn't take another step. Useless. As always. Meanwhile, Lin Yuhao was in full meltdown mode. Everyone around him was eating, chewing. Some people were even chewing loudly, which in his mind was a personal attack. He yanked on Lin mother's sleeve. "Mommy, I'm so hungry." They're all smacking their lips right in front of me. Back home, we wouldn't even feed this garbage bread to our dog. Then, because one target was never enough, Lin Yue is a little witch. You should have strangled her, as a baby. Girls are useless money pits. The one you raised, useless. The one you got back, also useless. Jiao Jiao said her boyfriend was some big official, but where is he now? Nowhere. He was just spraying insults in every direction like a broken fire hydrant. I tune him out completely. Arguing with Lin Yuhao was like debating a brick, except the brick had better manners. But Jiao Jiao? Jiao Jiao had it. She clenched her fists and spun on the little brat. Don't you dare compare me to Lin Yue. I carried you on my lap for 3 hours. At least I'm doing something. If you're so tough, go ask Lin Yue for food yourself instead of crying to mommy. Then, brilliant survival move. She sprinted to the connector door and positioned herself right next to where the plainclothes officer was resting. Message clear: if mom and dad lay a hand on her, she's calling security. Lin father's face turned the color of an eggplant. But he couldn't do anything with the guard right there. He yanked Yuhao down. Stop crying. That little wretch won't feed you?
Fine.
You're a man. A man does not bow for a measly bowl of rice. I laughed. Out loud. This man had literally tried to sweet-talk me for buns 5 minutes ago, and now he's lecturing his son about pride? He heard me laugh. The death glares from both Lin parents flew at me like daggers. I glared right back. Harder. Better. Full bellies changed the whole atmosphere. People started chatting, even joking. Man, I wish I'd brought a deck of cards. If we're going to suffer, might as well have fun doing it. Amazing what food does. 5 minutes ago, everyone wanted to die. Now we want entertainment. All thanks to young comrade Lin. Without her planning ahead, we'd all be starving right now. Seriously? What a smart girl. The grateful looks came my way. I accepted them graciously. Jiao Jiao sat in her corner, seething. In her mind, I was just a country bumpkin who was too used to hardship to forget packing food. Nothing impressive about that. Just peasant instincts. Totally beneath her. Grrrr. Her stomach growled. Loudly. In the silent car. Where everyone could hear it. The universe has impeccable comedic timing. The Lin family was not handling the "everyone has food except us" situation with grace. The other passengers, having eaten my buns, were now engaging in what I can only describe as competitive food reminiscing. Man, that white flour bun really hit the spot. Is everyone full? Oh, so full. I usually can't eat much, but today? Incredible. Who knew exile would be the first time I'd eat proper white bread? People were literally rubbing their bellies and sighing with contentment while staring directly at the Lin family. Someone turned to them with fake concern. Hey, did your family eat yet? You people are cruel. Lin father ground his teeth so hard I could hear enamel cracking. Jiao Jiao turned her head and pretended to be deaf. Lin Yuhao? He cried every time someone said the word mantu, like a Pavlovian response, except instead of drooling, he sobbed. Finally, the little prince waddled over to me, tears streaming, and declared, I don't care about your rules. Give me buns now, or I'll beat you to death. And he actually swung at me, raised his pudgy hand, and everything. His palm never made contact. Hua Shiwan's foot connected with the boy's midsection, not full force, since the kid was still technically a child, but combined with the train's momentum, Lin Yuhao went sailing across the car like a chubby cannonball, hit the wall with a magnificent dong, and crumpled to the floor. The whole sequence took about 1.5 seconds. Everyone was still processing the "I'll beat you to death" part when the dong happened. Wah! Mommy, Daddy, Lian Yue's man hit me. Lin mother scrambled over on all fours. Baby, are you okay? Don't scare mommy, Lin father puffed up. I'll avenge you, son. He turned toward Huishiyuan. Saw the man's height. Saw his build. Saw the temperature drop in those dark eyes. Lin father. Reconsidered. But Lin mother? Lin mother had no such survival instincts. She charged at Huishiyuan like a feral pig. Huishiyuan backed up. He wouldn't hit a woman. I was about to get up and handle it myself when a shadow exploded from the corner of the car. A man, clothes black as coal, face and neck coated in grease, bringing with him a smell so powerful it could peel paint, materialized behind Lin mother and clamped his hand around her throat. Everyone's hands flew to their noses. The stench. This man smelled like a dumpster had a baby with a swamp. Lin mother gagged and thrashed. Let go of me, you lunatic. Who are you? The man squeezed tighter. Her screaming died to a gurgle. I had no idea who this guy was or what he wanted. I was still trying to figure it out when his blackened hand extended toward me. Huishiyuan yanked me behind him instantly. What do you want? The man ignored him completely. His eyes, dark, intense, locked on mine like I was the only person in the car, and said, Give me buns. I'll make sure this whole family never comes near you again. Father Hu stood up, suspicious. Who are you? The man didn't answer anyone except me. I looked at this strange, filthy, terrifying creature and thought, you know what? I like his energy. I reached down and pulled out 2 buns. 2 buns a day as payment. If any of those 4 say one extra word, slap them across the mouth. Deal. He snatched the buns. 2 pristine white buns instantly acquired 5 black fingerprints each. He tossed Lin mother aside like a used towel, then kicked Lin Yuhao and Lin father for good measure. Behave. My boss doesn't like noise. Boss? Everyone's head swiveled between me and this
Coal goblin.
like they were trying to figure out if we'd met before. We had not. I had just acquired a bodyguard for the price of 2 mantu. Best business deal of my life. The Lin family, freshly beaten, opened their mouths to cry, then saw the man pause mid-chew and look their way. They swallowed their tears immediately. The 3 of them huddled together, whimpering silently. Jiao Jiao hid in her corner, face twisted with an envy she couldn't disguise. I could practically hear her brain screaming. How? How does Lin Yue keep winning? In my last life she was nothing. I caught her staring and, because I am a petty woman, snuggled deeper into Huishiyuan's arms. Choke on it, Jiao Jiao. We're just getting started. Are you uncomfortable? Huishiyuan murmured, feeling me lean in. Nope. You're just comfy. His arm wrapped around me. I fell asleep in his embrace. When I woke up, the car was darker than before. I could hear people shuffling around. What's going on? Everyone's stretching. Been sitting too long, Huishiyuan said softly, steadying me. Then, with ears turning pink in the dark, Wei, does your bottom hurt? I blinked.
Checked.
Wiggled experimentally. No, actually, it genuinely didn't. I'd been sitting on a metal floor for 12+ hours and my butt felt fine. Then it hit me. Last night's mystery prize. The sit easy. That weird coupon I used without knowing what it did. It was basically a magical butt cushion buff. Little TV, I take back every mean thing I said. You beautiful, stupid, genius little appliance. Huishiyuan asked when I'd last had water. Answer, never. None of us had drunk anything since departure. I glanced around. It was pitch black.
Perfect.
I reached into my space and pulled out a water canteen, then grabbed blindly in front of me to hand it to Huishiyuan. Wei. A low, strained sound. I grabbed something that was not his hand. I released him like he was on fire and shoved the canteen into his chest. Drink. Water. He took it silently. Drank quietly. Passed it to his parents and Enin. Returned it. Then I smelled something cooking. Wait, no, it was jerky. I'd pulled out beef jerky from the space without thinking. Open your mouth, I whispered. He obeyed. I popped a piece of dried meat in. His eyes widened in the darkness. I could practically feel his brain going. Where is this coming from? Her bag is the size of a pillow. She's pulled out 50 buns, a water canteen, and now jerky? He pulled me close and murmured against my hair. Wei, is there a magic bag hidden in your bundle? My entire body went stiff as a board. Oh no. He's figuring it out. The man who can't lie is married to a woman who can't explain where furniture-sized quantities of food keep appearing from on a sealed train. This might be a problem. Hua Shiwan pulled me closer and whispered with a grin. So, could your magic bag fit me inside? That way I could follow you anywhere. Don't flatter yourself, he was joking. Thank God, he was joking. My heart rate returned to something resembling normal. I distributed jerky to the family in the dark. Father and Mother Hua had spent the entire trip being quietly fed an endless stream of snacks while caring for little Enin. At one point, Mother Hua looked around the filthy coal car, then down at the premium beef jerky in her hand, and I could see her brain glitching. Are we being exiled or are we on a cruise? Hours passed. I started panicking about missing my daily prize draw. I made an excuse, scooted away from Hua Shiwan, waited for his breathing to even out, and slipped into the space. The second I materialized inside, triumphant fanfare at maximum volume. I nearly had a cardiac arrest. The music was blasting like a New Year's celebration on steroids. Fireworks energy. Championship parade energy. I ignored the audio assault and marched straight to little TV. It displayed a beaming, smiley face. Congratulations, Master. You've been traveling for a whole day. I gave it the deadest smile possible. Do you think you're funny? A giant red question mark appeared. Prize draw. I don't have time. I smacked little TV twice. A crying face appeared, followed, finally, by the draw screen. I was about to hit start when the screen jumped to a new page. Master, little TV will draw for you. But first, little TV has detected that Master is on a joyful honeymoon and wants to celebrate. My teeth ground together so hard I tasted enamel. Which eye of yours sees a joyful honeymoon? Trayman just married equals honeymoon trip. Logic. Irrefutable logic. From a sentient television. If it weren't for the 600 yuan daily bonus, I would have yeeted this thing into the void. I pressed my palm against its screen like I was trying to suffocate it. I am being exiled. To a wasteland. Do you understand? If someone notices I've disappeared from that train car, I will die. Now let me draw. Beep boop. Master is scary. Master doesn't just want to draw prizes. Master wants to draw on little TV. Ha ha ha. I was not laughing. I was making sounds that resembled laughter while contemplating television murder. I took a deep, calming breath. Stroked the screen gently. You're such a good little TV. The best little TV. Now please. Let
Me draw while little TV is so scared.
little TV going wah wah wah. This dramatic display went on for several more excruciating seconds before the draw page finally, reluctantly appeared. I have never pressed a start button with more violence. Stop. Out dropped. A giant pot. 1 meter in diameter. I stared at it.
A pot.
I won a pot. Useful? I guess? In the same way a hat is useful in a hurricane. Technically, yes. Emotionally devastating. I was about to grab it and leave when little TV piped up. Congratulations, Master. You now own the infinite regeneration cycle pot. The what now? Long name. That usually meant something good. I stopped. Little TV, sensing my curiosity, immediately started doing a dramatic slideshow of expressions. Winking, sparkling, drum-rolling, milking the moment for everything it was worth. I was 1 second from leaving when it finally displayed the manual. Cycle. This pot never sticks. Never rusts. Ever. I forced out the words. Good pot, little TV practically preened. Encouraged, it revealed the big feature. Infinite regeneration. Anything you put inside will multiply endlessly. Drop in one item. Get an infinite supply of the same thing. Take as much as you want, it never runs out. I slapped my hands together.
Good. Pot. This wasn't a pot.
This was a cornucopia. A miracle cauldron. A pot that photocopies food. I grabbed some beef jerky and threw it in. Mentally chanted, multiply, multiply, multiply. The jerky bubbled and swelled, and within seconds the pot was overflowing with premium dried meat. Enough to open a franchise. I was so happy I could have kissed little TV. I didn't, but I gave it several enthusiastic pats. Good pot. Good you, good everything. Little TV's screen glowed. Master is good too. I gave it a few more compliments, which it accepted like a cat accepts chin scratches, and bolted out of the space. Wei Wei. The instant I returned, Huashiwan's hand found my arm in the dark. I nearly jumped out of my skin.
What?
You're awake. Are you tired? Want me to hold you while you sleep? I wanted to say no, but his arms were warm and the train was cold, and I am only human. He wrapped me up. What I didn't know was that the man had been lying there the whole time I was gone, wide awake, heart hammering, and only relaxed when he felt me materialize back beside him. This man definitely knows something is weird about his wife. He's just choosing not to ask. I respect it. I fear it.
Both.
Deep into the night, the temperature plummeted. Cold wind knifed through every crack in the car, waking everyone. People hugged themselves and groaned. It's summer. How is it this cold? Welcome to the Northeast. 6 months of winter. By late September, you can't go outside without a coat. We're all in short sleeves. My little girl is wearing a dress. The panic was building, but in Huashiwan's arms, I was a warm little burrito. Not my problem right now. Everyone eventually went quiet, too scared of the future to keep talking about it. Then, the screech of brakes. The train was stopping. The plainclothes officer appeared with a flashlight, banging on the window. Wake up. Train's pulling into a station. If you need to eat, drink, or use the bathroom, do it now. Food. Lin Yuhao shot up like a rocket, shaking his parents. They have food. Wake up, Lin father. And Lin mother. The same people who'd spent hours acting too dignified to sit on the floor, trampled everyone in their path to plaster themselves against the car door. They were going to be first out. They were going to eat if it killed every bystander between them and a bowl. The rest of us, having been secretly and continuously fed by my magic bundle, watched this with mild amusement. The train crawled to a stop. Doors opened. Flashlight beams everywhere. Nobody runs. Anyone who tries to escape or causes trouble gets shot. Now get off. The Lin family trio sprinted to the nearest officer. Where's the food? We're starving. The officer shoved them aside with visible disgust. You should be hungry. You people are class enemies. Showing you mercy is a betrayal of the revolution. Then he turned to the other guards. Take them to relieve themselves. If anyone runs, deal with them however you see fit. Lin father's face was the dictionary definition of, I've made a terrible mistake. Welcome to the Northeast Express, everyone.
No refunds.
No food. And absolutely no dignity remaining. The guards split us into groups and marched us to the station's public toilets. Afterwards, we were herded onto the platform like livestock at a county fair. The platform was surrounded by nothing but wild grass and approximately 4 billion mosquitoes. Every child on that platform became an all-you-can-eat buffet. Little Eneen's skin bloomed with angry red welts. I snuck out some ointment from my space and dabbed it on her bites. It's cool. Eneen's eyes went wide with wonder, 1 second burning, the next completely soothed. I squeezed her little nose and put a finger to my lips. She immediately slapped both hands over her mouth. This child understood operational security better than most adults I knew. I took her for a jog around the platform to keep the mosquitoes moving. Everyone else was either slapping themselves raw or lamenting the cruel injustice of the universe. The guards got fed up. One of them slammed something metal against the platform railing. Oh, so you people are too delicate for mosquitoes? We're out here suffering too, you know. Instead of whining, maybe think about how you're going to build something in the great northern wilderness. Everyone shut up. The mosquito slapping continued in silence. Huashiwan broke off a bunch of reeds and fanned them around our family to keep the bugs away. He even politely asked the guards if we could light a campfire. They said no. Then they lit their own campfire. They can burn fires, but we can't. What kind of people are these? The grumbling got louder. The guards exploded. When you were squeezing money out of ordinary citizens, did you think about fairness? You bad elements don't get to quote proverbs about justice. Father who stepped in and calmed everyone down. Let it go. Provoking them helps nobody. Even stripped of his rank and exiled, the man still commanded respect. People listened. We waited on that mosquito-infested platform until dawn. Then, salvation on wheels. 3 or 4 women appeared, pushing a small cart with a clean white cloth draped over the top. Excitement rippled through the crowd like electricity. So that's why they kept us here. They were waiting for the food delivery. A whole cart. We'll definitely eat our fill. Lin Yuhao was clapping his hands. Finally. Food. The cart rolled closer. Closer. The women pulled back the white cloth with a flourish, revealing a basin of small, yellow cornbread buns. Someone said optimistically, "At least they're still warm. A bit small though. 2 should fill you up. Cornbread? That stuff scrapes your throat raw. How are we supposed to eat that?" That last complaint was Lin Yuhao. Naturally. The women shot him a look of pure disgust and muttered to each other. These people are getting free food and still complaining. Should have given theirs to the dogs. The guard barked. If you don't want it, don't eat. Hey, that fat kid? Don't give him anything. Yes, sir. Leftovers go to the dogs before that brat. Mommy.
Daddy.
They're bullying me. Lin father and Lin mother grabbed Yuhao and clamped him down.
Hush.
You'll lose our portions too. The guard relented slightly and let the distribution proceed. Everyone had assumed a full cart meant a full stomach. The reality. 1 bun per person.
1.
These things were the size of a child's fist. We watched the women wheel away a cart still mostly full of cornbread. The guard share. 10 buns per guard. Nobody dared complain out loud. I don't like cornbread. It's dry, it's gritty, and it tastes like compressed sadness. I checked with my family. Everyone had already been secretly fed from my space, so I handed my bun to Zhang San, my new bodyguard. The man's eyebrow twitched with pleasant surprise. He snatched the bun and inhaled it in 2 bites. Then he turned to me. What's your name? Lin Yue. I'm Zhang San. You can call me Xiao San. I tried to smile. It probably looked more like a grimace. See, Xiao San means little 3 right now, which is perfectly innocent. But in about 10 or 15 years, that phrase was going to mean something very different, specifically, the other woman in an affair. This man had no idea he'd just given himself the worst possible nickname in Chinese linguistic history.
I'll call you Sanzi instead, I said.
Works too. He shrugged with the energy of a man who truly did not care about anything except his next meal. While I was chatting with my hired muscle, someone tapped my shoulder and held out 2 mao. Comrade Lin, that cornbread is too hard for my kid. Got any more of those white buns? Sure do. Money exchanged.
Bun delivered.
My traveling bakery was still in business. Enin couldn't handle the cornbread either, so I secretly slipped her a sugar-filled pastry triangle from my space. She looked at it, looked at me, and completely unprompted, put her finger to her lips in the shoo gesture. This 3-year-old was better at keeping secrets than the entire Lin family combined. I patted her head with deep pride. Our side of the platform. Calm. Fed. Functional. The Lin family side. A live-action circus. Jiao Jiao had just received her single cornbread bun and raised it to her mouth when Lin mother swooped in. Jiao Jiao, dear, you're a girl. You need to watch your figure. Eating too much isn't good for you. Give me your bun, and I'll give you half of this one. She opened her palm. Inside was a piece of cornbread, so small it was basically a crumb, with a bite mark in it. Jiao Jiao stared at it.
Mom.
That's not half. Of course it is. Your brother only took 1 bite. It's Lin Yuhao's leftover. Jiao Jiao actually laughed. Not a happy laugh. The laugh of someone who'd crossed an ocean to find their birth family and discovered they were worse than the strangers who raised her. She clutched her bun tighter. Mom, I'm not fat.
I don't need to diet.
Let's not trade. She opened her mouth to bite. Lin mother grabbed her wrist. Couldn't overpower her alone, so she called Lin father for backup. The 3 of them struggled over a single cornbread bun, yanking, pulling, grunting, until the bun flew out of everyone's hands and hit the dirt. Lin father's palm connected with Jiao Jiao's face before the bun even stopped rolling. Lin mother spat at her. You selfish wretch. Your brother wants a bite and you can't share? Don't forget, Your brother is the person you'll depend on most in life. Look what you did, you worthless girl. Perfectly good food ruined. Lin Mother bent down, carefully picked up the dirty bun, brushed off the soil grain by grain with the tenderness she never showed her daughter, and presented it to Lin Yuhao. Yuhao wrinkled his nose.
Mom.
Is this still edible? And there, in one perfect snapshot, was the entire Lin family dynamic. The son who got everything and still complained, the parents who'd sacrifice. A daughter for a crumb to feed him, and the daughter who'd burned her whole previous life trying to get back to people who would never, ever love her. I sat on my clean blanket, full of secret space food, flanked by a husband who designed me a wedding dress and a bodyguard I'd purchased for 2 buns a day, and I watched Lin Jiaojiao hold her red cheek in silence. For just one moment, just one, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Lin Mother was still cooing over her precious son, hand-feeding him a dirt-seasoned cornbread bun like he was a baby bird. Eat up, my darling boy. Grow big and strong. Mommy and Daddy are counting on you for our future. Then she glared at Jiao Jiao, who was glaring right back with the heat of 1,000 suns. A few days away from home, and you've already lost all manners, Lin Mother sniffed. I'll have to discipline you properly when I find the time. Maybe discipline your wonderful son instead, Jiao Jiao shot back. She was done. Completely done with these people. She slammed her fist into the ground, looked around at everyone with pure venom, and let her gaze land on me, sitting with the Hor family, chatting, laughing, being treated like an actual human being. I could practically read her thoughts. If I'd known it would turn out like this, I never would have let Lin Yue have Hor Shiyuan. Too late, sweetheart. No returns.
No exchanges.
Then her eyes caught something. Inin's hand. The thing in Inin's hand. It wasn't yellow like cornbread. It was a different color entirely. Jiao Jiao's face split into a grin that belonged on a cartoon villain. She bolted to the nearest guard. Officer, I'd like to report something. Lin Yue has hidden white flour buns. You hardworking officers are eating cornbread while a bad element like her eats premium bread. This is injustice. She grabbed the guard captain by the arm and dragged him toward me like a child pulling a parent to see a dead bird. Hua Shiwan and Zhang Sand immediately stepped in front of me, faces carved from ice. Jiao Jiao hid behind the officer with theatrical terror.
See?
They're so violent. Always hitting people. Please be careful, officer. I'd like to see them try. The guard was furious now, taking big angry strides toward us. Hua Shiwan glanced back at me, worried. But I walked right past him and faced the officer directly. What's the matter, sir? You tell me. Open your bundles. We're doing an inspection. I glanced at Jiao Jiao. Immediately understood the play. She'd spotted Inin's food and decided today was Destroy Lin Yue Day. Hua Shiwan and Zhang San wanted to block the search, but I picked up my bundle and handed it over myself. Here you go, officer. Everything in here is permitted. We'll be the judge of that. He grabbed it and was about to rip it open when I said, "One moment." What? Sir, it's just my bundle contains my personal clothing. You're a male officer inspecting a woman's undergarments. That might not look appropriate. His hands froze on the knot. I'll do it. Jiao Jiao jumped forward, practically vibrating with anticipation. Her face screamed, I'm about to catch you red-handed, and it's going to be delicious. I didn't even look at her. Kept my eyes on the officer. Perhaps one of the food delivery ladies could inspect it instead? They haven't spoken a word to me. No chance of collusion. The officer thought about it. Fair point. He called over one of the aunties. The woman thumped her chest with righteous fury. Captain, you can count on me. I despise these bad elements. I would never cover for them. She snatched my bundle and marched off to inspect it, shooting me a dirty look for good measure. Lin Yue, you're finished, Jiao Jiao whispered, rubbing her hands together like a fly on a wedding cake. I smiled pleasantly. Lin Jiao Jiao, let me give you one piece of advice. Those who do too much evil will destroy themselves. You're full of. Before she could finish, the auntie came trotting back. She handed the bundle to the officer. Nothing in there, sir. Just a young woman's clothes. Jiao Jiao's jaw unhinged. That's impossible. I saw her pull buns out of that bundle yesterday and sell them to everyone. I let out a slow, pitying laugh. Jiao Jiao, have you lost your mind? Look at where we are. Where would I possibly get white flour buns to sell to people? The officer's face tightened. He was now realizing he'd just conducted a public inspection of a woman's underwear bag because some unhinged girl told him to. He turned his glare on Jiao Jiao. She doubled down. I'm telling the truth. Ask them. She pointed at the crowd. They all bought buns from her yesterday. Every single person in that crowd suddenly developed collective amnesia. Buns? What buns? We don't have any money. They took everything when we left. Never seen a bun in my life. What's a bun? Don't know her. Nobody was stupid enough to admit to hiding cash and conducting black market food transactions in front of armed guards. Jiao Jiao had expected allies. She got a wall of blank stares. Desperate, she whirled on her parents.
Mom, Dad, tell them.
Lin Yue sold buns yesterday and refused to give us any. You saw it. She winked at them frantically. The message was clear. Back me up. We'll take her down together. This is our chance. Lin father and Lin mother exchanged a look. Jiao Jiao held her breath. I smiled sweetly at them. By all means, uncle, auntie, tell the truth. After all, the officer will search my bundle either way. If they find something, your testimony is validated. But if they find nothing, well, a family of capitalists making false accusations would certainly make your situation worse. The math wasn't complicated. Risk everything on Jiao Jiao's hunch, or play it safe. Lin father cleared his throat. We don't know anything. None of this has anything to do with our family. Lin mother nodded vigorously. Not a clue. We mind our own business. Jiao Jiao looked like someone had pulled the floor out from under her feet, the ceiling above her head, and the air from her lungs all at once.
Mom, Dad.
You can't even support me this once? Don't you understand? If they can't prove Lin Yue hid food, then they've just proven that I'm the liar, her voice cracked. She was genuinely hurt. For a fraction of a second, her eyes showed something raw and real, the pain of a daughter who would never, ever be chosen. I felt nothing. Okay, maybe 1% of something, but I buried it. I turned to the officer. Sir, you're welcome to inspect the rest of my family's belongings too. We'll cooperate fully. The officer's face flushed red. He spun on Jiao Jiao with barely contained rage. You tried to weaponize me against an innocent person. You wanted me to be your executioner. I think you have a death wish. Jiao Jiao stood there, mouth opening and closing like a fish on a cutting board. Her parents had abandoned her. The crowd had denied her. The guard was now furious at her instead of me. She'd walked into this station planning to destroy me and ended up with the officer's boot aimed squarely at her own backside. Every single time this girl tried something, it boomeranged back so hard it left a dent. At some point you'd think she'd learn. But then again, learning from mistakes requires a quality that Lin Jiao has never possessed, the ability to consider that maybe, just maybe, she's the problem. It's not like that. Jiao was screaming now, full-throated, unhinged, the kind of scream that makes everyone within earshot take 3 steps back. It's all Lin Yuwei's fault. She stole my parents. She's a black market criminal. Everything is her fault and none of you will believe me. The guard had heard enough. He pulled out handcuffs, actual real handcuffs, and slapped them on her wrists while she thrashed and kicked. One more word, and I'm gagging you. Jiao went quiet. Then she started laughing. Not a normal laugh. The kind of laugh that makes you check if the nearest exit is clear. Wild, broken, completely unglued. Huashiwan pulled me behind him instantly. A laughing Jiao was more dangerous than a screaming one. She saw him protecting me, and something snapped behind her eyes. She shoved past the guard and stumbled right up to Huashiwan's face. Her voice dropped to a poisonous whisper. Huashiwan, you think she actually wanted to sleep with you? I drugged her. Without my help, she'd never have touched you. And let me tell you something. In this life and the last one, the man she really wants is Zhou Shuya. Huashiwan's eyes darkened. Before he could respond, the guard caught up, grabbed Jiao by the collar, and cursed. You slippery little. Nearly got away. He stuffed a dirty rag into her mouth and dragged her back toward the train. Even being hauled away, she kept twisting her neck to look at Hwashiwan with eyes full of pity and provocation. Look, those eyes said, your wife doesn't love you. And now you know. What did she say to you? I'd heard her whispering but couldn't make out the words over the platform noise. Hwashiwan was quiet for a beat. Then he looked at me and said, Wei Wei, in this life, you're mine. What kind of answer was that? This life? What about other lives? Why was he talking like a fortune cookie written by a possessive boyfriend? Then it clicked. This life. Last life. Jiao Jiao had said something about previous lives. About who I'd wanted to marry before. I grabbed his arm and said firmly, Hwashiwan, whatever came out of Lin Jiao Jiao's mouth, don't believe a single syllable. Not even a punctuation mark. That woman would set herself on fire if it meant the smoke got in my eyes. He smiled. Okay. The guards yelled at everyone to board. Hwashiwan helped me into the car. I spotted Jiao Jiao immediately. Handcuffed to the door handle like a dog on a leash, rag still stuffed in her mouth. I looked right at her, made deliberate eye contact. Then I pretended to stumble, and Hwashiwan, right on cue, scooped me up in his arms and carried me to our spot. Lin Yuwei, she screamed through the rag, barely intelligible. She knew exactly what I was doing. I'd seen her try to poison my husband's mind, so I was giving her a front row seat to how little it worked. Lin Yuwei, you're a seductress. You were born to be a shameless man-stealing. People scattered away from her like she was contagious. Everyone had officially decided she was insane. Hwashiwan set me down gently. I caught his eye before he could say anything. Shiwan, some people aren't worth wasting breath on. My legs are sore. Would you rub them for me? I said it sweetly, softly, with exactly the kind of feminine charm that would make Jiao Jiao's blood boil. Hwashiwan's brain visibly short-circuited for half a second. Then he nodded. Okay. He crouched down in front of me and reached for my calf. Aaghhhh, a shriek from behind. We both looked up. Zhang San was standing over Jiao Jiao, rolling his wrists casually. Boss. Brother-in-law. Please continue. I personally prefer not to waste words when fists work faster. He strolled away, whistling. I gave him a mental thumbs up. 2 buns a day for this man's services was the bargain of the century. I looked down at Hwashiwan, who was still dutifully massaging my leg. I pulled my foot back. I was just saying that to annoy her. You don't actually have to. His large hands gently but firmly recaptured my calf. He looked up with complete seriousness. Wei Wei. If you're going to put on a show, commit to the whole performance. I had no comeback for that. I let him rub my legs for a while before finally making him stop. We sat side by side. I turned to him. So, can you tell me now what Jiao Jiao said? He raised an eyebrow. Wei Wei, that's not fair. How is it not fair? I gave you a massage and I have to answer questions? You need to answer one of mine first. As payment. Fine. It was just a question. Not like he was asking for money. And the man had just rubbed my legs in front of 60 people. He looked at me, really looked at me, deep and searching, and asked, What do you think of Zhou Xia? So it was about Zhou Xia. Jiao Jiao had played that card. I was quiet for a moment. Then I leaned closer to him. Shiwan, I need to tell you something. I once had a very long dream. A dream that covered my life from age 1 to age 30. In that dream, the Lin family and Lin Jiao Jiao did terrible things to me. Zhou Xia had nothing to do with me. In the dream, he married Jiao Jiao. I looked up at him, not sure what to expect. Then Zhou Xia has worse taste than me. That was it. That was his entire reaction. A slight, arrogant smirk and a dig at another man's judgment. I stared at him. Then I laughed a real, startled laugh. That's all you have to say. Was I in the dream? Yes. Did you choose me? I shook my head honestly. No, a tiny flicker across his face. Then it smoothed out. He reached over and stroked my hair, his voice gentle. You could still make that same choice, you know. Even now, he wasn't angry. He wasn't jealous. He was giving me an out. Again. This man and his compulsive need to set me free. It would have been infuriating if it wasn't so heartbreakingly sincere. I think he understood, on some level, that my dream wasn't really a dream. That all the impossible things about me, the vanishing supplies, the bottomless bundle, the way I always seemed to know what was coming, were connected to something beyond normal explanation. And he didn't push, didn't demand answers, just accepted it. I looked into his eyes and said, living the same life twice would be boring. Hwashiwan, I chose wrong in the dream. This time, I know I'm right. His expression shifted. The playfulness dropped away, replaced by something raw and fierce. Wei, I won't let you be wrong. Bang, bang, bang. Wake up. Listen up. 5 hours until we enter the great northern wilderness. 7 hours until we reach Darong County. The guard's announcement echoed through the car. Darong County, Lin Mother muttered, the name ringing a bell. Then her eyes lit up and she turned to Jiao Jiao with sudden, desperate hope. Whatever scheme was forming in that woman's head, I was sure of one thing. It wasn't going to end well. It never did. Darong County. Jiao Jiao started thrashing against her handcuffs the second she heard the name. Whatever memories she had of that place, she wanted an part of a return trip. But Lin Mother? Lin Mother's eyes lit up like she'd just found a winning lottery ticket in a sewer. She crawled over to Lin Father and whispered something. His face went from miserable to electric in half a second. Are you serious? I'm pretty sure. They exchanged a look, the kind of look that means we're about to exploit someone, and made a beeline for their handcuffed daughter. Jiao Jiao, sweetie, what's wrong? Lin Mother cooed, suddenly overflowing with maternal warmth. She gently took Jiao Jiao's wrists, the same wrists she'd watched get cuffed without lifting a finger, and gasped at the red marks. Oh, baby, Mommy's heart is breaking seeing you like this. Jiao Jiao stared at her mother like she'd grown a second head. 5 minutes ago, this woman threw her under the bus, stole her cornbread, and watched her get dragged away in handcuffs. Now she was auditioning for Mother of the Year? Jiao Jiao, you and your brother are equally important to us. Look, Lin Mother opened her palm. Inside was a tiny piece of cornbread. She held it to Jiao Jiao's lips with the tenderness of a woman feeding a baby bird. Jiao Jiao clenched her jaw. For one fleeting moment, she wanted to believe it. Wanted to believe her mother actually cared. Then reality kicked in. She bit the cornbread, chewed twice, swallowed. She'd eat the food. But she'd never swallow the lie again. Do you need something from me? Jiao Jiao asked, her voice arctic. Lin Mother flinched at the coldness, but powered through. Kids throw tantrums. She needed this one cooperative. Sweetie, did you hear? We're going to Darong County. Her eyes were practically sparkling. Jiao Jiao understood instantly. She let out a bitter laugh. So you need me now. Lin Mother's face twitched, but she held her smile. Jiao Jiao continued. My foster parents are from Darong County. But so what? They're dead. Dead? You really expect me to believe that? Lin Mother dropped the act for just a second. She'd never bought that story. Jiao Jiao frowned. When she'd first come back to the Lin family and claimed her foster parents were dead, they believed her without question. What changed? Lin Mother patted her shoulder with a knowing smile. If Lin Yue's birth parents were dead, she could stay with us permanently. You know how expensive hiring a maid is these days. That was it. That was the entire reason they'd accepted the dead parents story. Not because they trusted Jiao Jiao. Because a dead set of birth parents meant they got to keep their free servant, me.
Ah. Ha.
Huh. Jiao Jiao's laugh was hollow enough to echo.
Yep.
Definitely her birth mother. She looked past the crowd, her resentful gaze finding me across the car. I was sitting there comfortable, protected, fed. Everything she'd schemed to have. Everything she'd burned her second chance at life trying to destroy. Mom, the Qian family isn't dead. But their real daughter is coming back now. What good am I as the foster kid? What can I possibly get from them? Lin Mother frowned. Fair point. But she'd already thought this through. We won't be sent to the same place as them. And even if we are, Lin Yue doesn't know where the Qian family lives. But you do. She leaned closer. Jiao Jiao, if we get on the Qian family's good side, at the very least they won't let us starve. Right? Jiao Jiao said nothing. Lin Mother played her trump card. You hate Lin Yue, don't you? She's got 2 guard dogs protecting her now, so you can't touch her. But the Qian family has no protection. Whatever we take from them, consider it Lin Yue paying her debts. At the mention of my name, Jiao Jiao's face went cold and hard. I know what I'm doing, she said quietly. Lin mother studied her daughter's expression. Confirmed, no loyalty to the Qian family whatsoever. Satisfied, she went back to collect Lin father and Lin Yuhao, and the whole family regrouped around Jiao Jiao like vultures settling on a branch. I watched this little family reunion from across the car. Something was off. 10 minutes ago, they'd abandoned Jiao Jiao like yesterday's garbage. Now they were huddled around her like she was their most precious treasure. Zhang Sen nudged his chin toward them. Boss, that family's cooking up something rotten. I smiled. Let them. Whatever they were planning, they were a family of four with no money, no food, no connections, and no survival skills heading into the harshest wilderness in China. We had a magic space, an infinite food pot, a mountain of supplies, and a bodyguard who worked for bread. They could scheme all they wanted. It was like watching ants plot to rob a bank. Zhang San studied me with something like admiration. Then, because the man had zero subtlety, boss, you some kind of magician? Those buns earlier, they just vanished. When your life's on the line, you throw away anything that could get you killed. I tossed them when nobody was looking. Zhang Sen nodded slowly, pretending to buy it.
He did not buy it.
Not even a little, but he was smart enough to stop asking. Word spread that I'd thrown away all the remaining buns, and people came crowding around, panicking. Comrade Lin, you got any food left? We might get separated. Who knows when we'll eat again? Yeah, I want to stock up too. Huashiwan stepped in front of me like a wall. You all saw what happened earlier. After that stunt, you think my wife would dare keep food on her? Commander, we won't tell anyone. We didn't say anything last time either. She already threw everything away, I said, backing up my husband. All of it. You threw away all those white flour buns. Nobody believed me. Premium white flour buns were worth more than gold out here. Who would throw them away? I let my voice go cold. If I hadn't, we'd all be in trouble right now. That landed. Every face in the circle went grim. They remembered. If the guards had found those buns, it wouldn't have been just my problem. Anyone who'd bought them would have been implicated too.
People sighed.
Some cursed. Such a waste. Beautiful buns gone. Then the anger found its natural target. This is all that girl's fault. She had to go and report it. Got herself chained up like a dog, and for what? Couldn't eat, so she wanted the rest of us to starve. Let me at her. A mob surged toward Jiao Jiao. Lin mother leaped up, hands on hips. I'd like to see who dares touch my daughter. Fine, we'll touch you instead. Get the whole family. Not one of them is any good. Fists flew. Chaos erupted. And right in the middle of it, Lin Yuhao, with the survival instincts of a lemming, shoved aside an auntie, puffed out his chest, and announced, My sister's foster parents are important people in the great northern wilderness. You mess with her and you're all dead. Shut up, Lin mother and Jiao Jiao screamed at him in perfect unison, so shrill that Yuhao turned white, and the angry mob actually stumbled backward. Lin mother grabbed the boy, clapped a hand over his face, and hissed through clenched teeth. You idiot! Your sister's foster parents are not in Darong County. Translation: They are absolutely in Darong County, and that information was supposed to be secret, you absolute walnut. I filed that little outburst away in my brain. My birth parents, the Qian family, were in Darong County, and the Lin family knew exactly where to find them. The question was, what were they planning to do about it? Whatever it was, I had a feeling I needed to find the Qian family first. Because if the Lin family got to them before I did, my birth parents wouldn't stand a chance against those four parasites. Lin Yuhao realized he'd just blown the family's secret and scrambled to fix it. I mean, they're not there. Definitely not. I misspoke. Enough. Lin mother yanked him behind her. Nobody else in the car understood what just happened. But I understood perfectly. I looked up at Huashiwan. He was already looking at me, the corner of his mouth curling up. We didn't need words. The Qian family, my birth parents, were in Darong County. That's exactly where we were headed. No wonder Jiao Jiao had panicked when she heard the destination. She told the Lin family my birth parents were dead. Arriving in the same county as the very much alive Qian family would blow that lie to smithereens. I caught Jiao Jiao's eye across the car and mouthed 2 words. Thank you. Her face went the color of old paper. She whipped around to Yu Hao and exploded. You moron. With you around, having a good life is impossible. Lin Yu Hao, why don't you just drop dead? Why are you yelling at me? Lin mother immediately rushed to defend her baby boy. Why are you screaming at your brother? He's just a child. Jiao Jiao's laugh came out like broken glass. A child? Kids his age in the countryside are already working the fields. He can't even form a sentence without ruining everything. He was born to destroy me. That little beast. Lin father's hand connected with her face, so hard her lips split open. Blood trickled down her chin. Tears poured down Jiao Jiao's cheeks. She licked the blood from her lip, stared at both parents with eyes that had gone completely dead, and said, Keep your precious idiot son. From now on, whether I live or die has nothing to do with the Lin family. What kind of talk is that? You think you can shake us off? Not a chance. Lin father and Lin mother pinned her in place, dropping the sweet act entirely. You lived here for 18 years. You know the land, you know the people. When we arrive, you're going to pull your weight. Otherwise, what was the point of giving birth to you? Jiao Jiao's whole body went cold. So that's it. You weren't just buttering me up to exploit the Qian family. You want to exploit me too. Free labor. We're family. Helping each other is normal. Besides, your brother will inherit the household registration. Treat him well now, and someday he'll stand up for you at your in-laws' house. Win-win. Jiao Jiao looked at her mother with eyes that had given up finding anything worth looking at.
Mom.
He can't even protect himself at home. You expect him to protect me at someone else's house? You're hilarious. Lin mother gave up on persuasion. She pulled Yu Hao close and launched into her favorite speech. Your sister thinks she's too good for her own family.
Fine.
Yu Hao, you be somebody. Show her. Show Lin Yue too. That ungrateful dog. Even if she comes crawling to your doorstep, don't help her. Yes, mama. You can count on me. Yu Hao puffed up like a little rooster who'd just been told he was an eagle. Jiao Jiao watched this display with visible nausea, then turned away. But in her mind, gears were grinding. Why had everything gone so wrong this time? In her previous life, the Lin family never got exiled. They lived comfortably. She married Zhou Xia. Everything was perfect. So what changed? Then a thought hit her like ice water down the spine. What if Lin Yue also came back? What if she's reborn too? The possibility made her blood run cold. She needed to test me somehow. Find out for sure. But life wasn't about to give her that opportunity. The train lurched and groaned through the hours until we finally pulled into a station at nightfall. Northern China in late September. The air hit us like an open freezer. The doors slid open to reveal absolutely nothing. Just infinite, impenetrable darkness.
No lights.
No buildings. No signs of civilization. Just the sound of insects and wind through dead grass. Everyone shivered. Emin burrowed deeper into Mother Hua's arms. Father Hua wrapped himself around Mother Hua. Hua Shiwan and Zhang Sen flanked me like a pair of guard towers. Cadre school detainees. OFF the train. A flashlight beam stabbed into the car. I turned to Zhang San, about to say goodbye, when the man leaped off the train first, then turned back and held out his hands to Hua Shiwan. Brother-in-law, toss me the bags. Hua Shiwan handed them over, probably assuming Zhang San was just being helpful before going his separate way. He lifted the family down one by one. Then the train started to pull away. Zhang San was still standing with us. Hua Shiwan blinked.
Your
Cadre school too. Yep. Surprised. Hua Shiwan had nothing to say to that. Zhang San's fighting skills were undeniable, but his general vibe screamed career criminal more than disgraced government official. Still, in this place, you didn't pry into people's pasts. Well then, glad we're sticking together. Zhang San grinned at me, teeth gleaming white against his coal-blackened face. Boss, good news, I'm still on the payroll. 2 buns a day, same deal? Keep up the good work, and there's more where that came from. Yes, ma'am. He was practically wagging an invisible tail. All right, celebration's over. Follow me. The escort counted heads and marched us into the void. I cannot overstate how dark it was.
No mon.
No stars. No anything. Just one flashlight beam cutting a tiny tunnel through blackness, insects screaming from every direction, and the sound of dry grass crunching under dozens of feet. How much farther? People in thin summer clothes were shaking. The temperature had no business being this low in what was technically still supposed to be warm season. The guard ignored the question. When people asked again, he snapped, "Shut up and walk." My cloth shoes offered zero protection against the rocky, uneven ground. Every step felt like walking on a bed of angry stones. Hua Shiwan held me with one arm and carried Yinin with the other. Father Hua supported Mother Hua. Zhang San hauled all the luggage. Our little unit moved like a well-oiled machine, fueled by all the secret food I'd been pumping into everyone for the past 2 days. Everyone else? Not so lucky. The stragglers fell further and further behind. The guard doubled back, pulled off his belt, and started whipping people. Stop acting delicate. You think you're still city lords and young masters? Move. Walk faster. If you don't reach the cadre school by dawn, you'll all face charges. Dawn? We have to walk until dawn. It just got dark. Despair settled over the group like a wet blanket. I narrowed my eyes. Even if the cadre school was far from the station, an all-night march seemed excessive. This guard wasn't leading us, he was hazing us, breaking us down before we even arrived, making sure we understood exactly how powerless we were. I filed this away, kept walking, kept my mouth shut. The wilderness stretched on forever, black and featureless. Somewhere behind us, I could hear people crying, stumbling, being struck. Somewhere ahead, my birth parents were living their lives, not knowing their daughter was walking toward them through the dark. And somewhere in between, the Lin family was already scheming to find them first. It was going to be a long night. I tugged Hua Shiwan's sleeve and whispered my theory. This guard was marching us in circles on purpose, making us walk all night just to mess with us. He nodded. You're right. Quick math. 8 hours of nonstop walking at our pace meant over 100 li. There was absolutely no way the cadre school was that far from the train station. This man was hazing us for sport. Time to fix that. Comrade, I need to use the bathroom, I called out. The lead guard's footsteps hitched for just a second. Then he sped up, pretending he didn't hear me. Classic. Zhang San, bless his shameless soul, jogged right up to the guy. Hey bro, my boss needs to relieve herself. You mind? Get back in line. Who told you to pass the group? Zhang San shuffled back 2 steps but kept at it with the persistence of a mosquito you can't swat. Come on, bro, just a quick stop. If she doesn't handle this now, it'll slow all of us down. You don't want that, right? Right, bro. He pestered the man with such relentless, thick-skinned cheerfulness that the guard finally caved just to shut him up. He swept his flashlight over the group. Who needs to go? I raised my hand. He glared at me, then squinted into the pitch-black wilderness. Pointed vaguely ahead. Over there. Go fast. I nodded. Hua Shiwan started to follow. I'll go with, and oh. The woman goes alone. No men. The guard's logic. A woman alone in total darkness wouldn't dare run. A man might. Solid reasoning for someone who had no idea what I was capable of. I'll be right back, I told the family and walked into the waist-high wild grass. 70% of the Great Northern Wilderness in the 1970s was exactly what the name promised, wilderness. Endless flat plains covered in grass taller than a person. No houses. No roads. No light. Just me, the bugs, and whatever was hiding in those weeds. I pushed through the grass, swatting at it to scare off anything bitey, until the guard's flashlight was completely invisible behind me. Then I moved fast. I circled ahead of the group, about 10 meters past where they'd be walking, and placed a small redwood box right in the middle of the path. It was one of the items I'd taken from the Lin family's confiscated goods. Compact but unmistakably expensive, carved with intricate patterns, the kind of thing that screams, I am worth a lot of money, even in the dark. I positioned it carefully so the flashlight would definitely catch it, then hurried back to rejoin the group. The guard scowled when he saw me. Took you long enough. What a hassle. I said nothing. Patience. The group marched forward. 10 meters later, the lead guard's flashlight swept the ground and he suddenly broke into a jog, then stopped dead. Everyone halt. What happened? The rear guard came running. Nothing, stay back. It's fine, he made a show of kicking something.
Just a dead snake.
Scared me. Now, I have never in my life heard someone kick a dead snake and have it sound exactly like someone picking up a wooden box. But nobody had the energy to investigate, so we all just kept walking. Approximately 90 seconds later, the lead guard had a dramatic change of heart about the evening's itinerary. He handed his flashlight to Zhang San. You walk in front. Lead the group. No funny business, or my bullet will find you. Got it? Then he speed walked to the back of the line. I deliberately slowed down, and, what do you know, overheard the rear guard whisper. Wait, I thought you said we were going to make them walk till morning? Teach them a lesson? Yeah, well, it's dark and miserable, and if they have to walk all night, so do we. Fair point. The lead guard reclaimed his flashlight from Zhang San and steered us onto an actual dirt road. Still terrible, but infinitely better than the gravel railroad embankment we'd been stumbling over. People were relieved, but still dreading an all-night march. Until, finally, a light appeared in the distance. The guard snorted. Lucky you. We're here. Everyone looked up. There it was, a compound sitting alone in the middle of absolute nowhere. A single lamp swinging in the wind above a red iron gate. White paint on the metal spelled out. Self-reliance. Hard struggle. Inspirational. The guard knocked. Dogs barked. A man shuffled out, cursing as he walked. Are you kidding me? Delivering people in the middle of the night? The wolves and tigers in these mountains don't even know where to hunt anymore, and you couldn't let nature take its course. Charming welcome. He opened the gate, looked us over, and asked, How many? 23, including the old and young. Old and young. The gatekeeper grabbed his oil lamp and walked down the line, inspecting faces. His expression turned thunderous. Who told you to send children and elderly here? Do you even know what this facility is? Orders from above. Which above? Where's the paperwork? Come back when you have it sorted. He slammed the iron gate in the guard's face. The guard stood there, humiliated, then spun on us and spat on the ground. Look at you. Garbage. Unwanted everywhere you go. Not even the cadre school will take you. He glared at us like we had personally insulted him, then barked. Move. I'm taking you to the village. Apparently convincing the cadre school gatekeeper, who fancied himself a professor, to accept a bunch of misfits was more bureaucracy than this man was willing to deal with at midnight. We followed him further into the darkness until we reached a village. Under the moonlight, it looked like something from 100 years ago. Tiny houses, crumbling mud walls that came up to your waist in some places and your shins in others. I genuinely could not figure out what purpose a knee-high wall served. Decoration? Tripping hazard? A statement about the futility of boundaries? The guard led us to the village chief's house and pounded on a door that looked like it had been assembled from driftwood and prayers. Shuffling inside, a small, elderly man emerged with an oil lamp, squinting. Who's there? What do you want this hour? He raised the lamp, recognized the guard, and immediately switched to a nervous smile. Captain Liu, what brings you here so late? Dropping off a batch of builders. Some of the men belong to the cadre school. When they send for them, just release them. Here's the list. 23 total, old and young. Paperwork exchanged. The guard practically fled into the night, clearly thrilled to be rid of us. The village chief looked at our group, exhausted, filthy, shivering, completely lost, and scratched his head.
Well,
I've got nowhere to put you tonight. He thought about it for a second, locked his own gate, and started walking. Follow me. And so, at some ungodly hour of the night, 23 former city dwellers trailed a tiny old man with an oil lamp through a silent village in the middle of the great northern wilderness, heading toward who knows where, with nothing but the clothes on our backs and whatever I had stashed in my magical invisible pocket dimension. Welcome to the countryside.
population. Us, now.